Okay, so we are going to get started here in just a second. Welcome everybody to this year's Black Friday Boot Camp. This is actually, I think, the fourth annual Black Friday Boot Camp, or maybe it's no, it's the fourth annual Black Friday Boot Camp. I'm really excited this year to be joined by a longtime friend, recent business partner, Mr. Frank Kern. Frank, you are there, correct?
I am, and I prefer to be addressed as Dr. Frank Kern, please. I
Dr.
know
Frank Kern.
that's not
Yeah.
real, but it sounds a lot better.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
after spending, what, $17 on the fake diploma from the fake diploma factory, you want to make sure you get your money's worth?
I certainly do. The Venezuelan Correspondence School of Internal Medicine was not free, and it is nothing to be taken lightly.
It's not. That's very, very, very true. Yeah, so we're going to get, like I said, we're going to get started real quick. I did just kind of want to say at the outset how cool I think it is for you guys to be here. Certainly those of you who are here in the U.S. I know there's lots of countries, obviously, that are not celebrating Thanksgiving this week and who don't have this notion of Black Friday necessarily. But for those of you guys who would normally be passed out on the couch, you know, after ingesting turkey for the second day in a row, or, you know, elbowing people at your local mall or Walmart to try to get a deal on a laptop, you know, I think it's great that you're here. This, in my experience, this is the time of the year when most people kind of start coasting. This is when most people, you know, they say, oh, the year's pretty much up. I'm going to sort of coast through the rest of the year. And I think I think it's really unfortunate. I mean, there's still a lot of time left in this year. There's still a lot of time left. Over a 12th of the year is left. And I think it's important that you don't do that. I think it's just a testament to you that you're here and that you're choosing to utilize this time to be with us and to learn something that is really, really important. And so just for me, I thank you for that. I know Frank is kind of a jerk, and so he probably doesn't care. But I appreciate that. Frank, you got anything you want to add to that?
How could I contribute anything better than that? Dude, and another thing, which a lot of people don't realize, is in many, many industries, the internet marketing industry especially, if you could even call it an industry, fourth quarter is usually a boom time of year. So this is not the time to be slacking because your marketplace is buying stuff like crazy.
Yep.
You have the whole, like if you're in any kind of improvement business or business building or service around anything like that that's results driven, you have the impending new year, which is a huge motivator for people, and you have the close of the current year, which is also a huge motivator for people because they want to end the year with a bang. So this certainly isn't the time to be slacking, and you're clearly not because you're here. So thank you again for that, sincerely.
Yeah, and let's use the time that we have here to get some momentum going into 2014. So we always think when we're putting together the Black Friday boot camp, like what's the thing that's going to make the biggest difference moving forward in 2014, the next year, I should say. And I remember going all the way back to 2010. The theme of the very first Black Friday boot camp was this wild and wacky thing called Facebook ads. And we said, hey, this is going to be a really, really big deal next year. And now what's everybody talking about? Facebook ads. You know, we were talking about it back then. The year prior, the next year we were talking about membership sites and subscription programs and blogs and authority properties. Last year we were talking about Kindle and digital publishing. This year it takes less of a tactical approach, and it really goes to the thing that has made the biggest difference, I know, in my business. And Frank, kind of the reason we came together on this is because we realized that we were sort of doing the same things. But he was doing the same things with a lot of his consulting clients. We were doing the same things with a lot of our portfolio business in terms of how we were approaching business and the systems and structures that we were putting in place, and the stuff that was really making a difference. You know, I'll be the first to admit that we've had a lot of successes, but we've also messed a lot of things up. We spent about 18 months kind of playing. We spent about 18 months chasing bright, shiny objects, and it really wasn't until, gosh, I guess kind of it was around this time last year when we were reevaluating, like, you know, what's going on? Like, why didn't we see the bigger gains when we kind of hit on the fundamental that we're going to be sharing with you guys today? I don't want to position it a fundamental like it's a boring thing. Much of what you're going to hear you've never heard anywhere else before. But this is the stuff that makes a difference. The reason we call it the $30 million blueprint is because this is the thing that allowed certainly my company to grow in excess of that. And we see it replicated across a number of other businesses. Certainly now that Frank and I have come together and partnered in this consulting practice, we're seeing the impact and effect that it's having on our clients. So we'll get to some of that. Just as a quick kind of point of introduction and to dive in, my name is Ryan Dice. I'm the founder and managing director of digitalmarketer.com. I'm also the co-founder of ID Incubator LP, which is essentially we start companies, we acquire companies, and in every company we go into, we layer on top this formula, this methodology that I'm going to be breaking down today. My co-host is Frank Kern, who's the highest paid direct response internet marketing consultant and copywriter on planet Earth. And he probably needs no introduction, but Frank, do you want to kind of say just a couple of things about you and where you've been, where you came from, that fun stuff?
Well, as you can tell from the photograph, I'm a very attractive man and very modest.
Yes.
I've been doing this for 15 years. I met Ryan in 2002, as a matter of fact, when you were in college, if I remember correctly. And
yep.
I was like, what are you doing in college? You're going to make a lot more money if you get out of there. And I was right. So
I did finish college, by the way.
You didn't go down the straight and narrow path. You were going to be, what were you doing? A stockbroker or something, and you quit.
Something like that. Yeah, that's straight and narrow.
Yeah, and went into business, But we've done business together for, gosh, man, 10 years, a little more than 10 years on a number of projects. So I've sort of worked behind the scenes a little bit advising these guys, but I can take no credit for their success at all. And interestingly enough, our consulting practice came about largely due to a conversation where I was talking about something I did to double a client's business in the translation niche, and Ryan was like, dude, that's like some of the stuff we do for our businesses, and we put our heads together, and next thing you know, here's the blueprint. So this is going to be good. This is a very, very good day of work we have ahead of us, and I think we should get cracking.
Yeah, and I like that you position it as a day of work, because this is a workshop. Make sure you got some notes out, that you're taking good notes. This is broken up into two parts. I'm going to kind of be driving the first part where we lay out the 5-step blueprint and methodology, and then we're going to take a little bit of a break because you're probably going to need it, just for like 5 minutes or so, and then Frank is going to come back for part 2 and really talk about the business of consulting. So part 1 is the methodology, how you can apply it in your own business, and then in part 2 we're going to talk about really how we've taken this methodology, how we're taking it to other businesses, and how you can do the same. So it gives you kind of multiple options. This is definitely for you if you have a business that's stuck and you want to get it unstuck by utilizing this, or if you're just getting started and you want to make sure that you're having the right systems and models in place. It's also for you if you're kind of sitting around wondering, I love this stuff, I love business, I love marketing, but I don't yet have a vehicle. You want to be able to help others. This is a really good methodology to teach, because we know that it works and it performs. So we'll talk about that in part 2. I just wanted to give a quick shout out. Every year we like to support a charity. You guys did pay to be on this training, but we did not receive, we are not going to be keeping that money. 100% of the proceeds from Black Friday Boot Camp is getting donated to a charity, and this year, as a result of some work that we're doing right now with the one and only William Shatner. That's a picture of actually me and our other partner Perry Belcher up on stage at last year's Traffic and Conversion Summit. We had an opportunity, he came out and spoke there, and he was on stage for 45 minutes, and then we spent another 4 hours that day just kind of hanging out and talking and sharing stories and talking about business. And the man's absolutely brilliant. He's just a brilliant, enormously hard worker, and I was kind of a little bit starstruck because he's been on TV for 50 years. But when I got to meet him, I was like, I just really like this person. It's somebody I want to do more work with. So we now have an opportunity. We're doing some business with him and some projects with him. And kind of as a result of that, one of his big passions is horses. And Bill just, he loves horses. He's actually a champion rider himself. And every year he does a charity horse show where they auction off horses and a number of other things, and all the proceeds from that. He actually pays 100% of the cost to put on this event. And like last year he had Vince Gill come out and sing. He's always got a number of celebrities out. But he pays all the costs out of pocket so that 100% of the proceeds from this charity horse show go to a number of charities, primarily children's charities, and there's one in particular that he's passionate about where they actually work with autistic children, and they put them on horses because there's actually some really good therapies out there, and it's very helpful for these kids. So it's something, when we were talking to him about it, we were excited about it, something we wanted to get behind. So I did want to announce, we don't have the final numbers yet, but our goal in doing this was to raise $50,000, and I am at this point 99% sure that we have passed that goal. So thank you so very much for doing that. So all right, lots of stuff to get into. I know that was a whole lot of intro, so we're just going to dive right in now with this question right here. What is the #1 job of every marketer? What is the #1 job? Now if you look in the right hand corner on your kind of control panel, you see a chat box. If you go ahead and enter your answer in there, I'm not going to call anybody in particular, just sort of looking through. And I know, like, when I've asked this at the time, see a lot of the same answers come through. People say, it's to get traffic, it's to increase conversion rates, and it usually has to deal with things like that. Well, I'm going to make kind of a bit of a shocking statement. Okay, I'm going to make a little bit of a shocking statement. There is actually no such thing as a traffic problem. Okay, now what do I mean by that? I mean, if you're a marketer, your job is not actually to get as much traffic as you possibly can to a particular offer. Okay, there's no such thing as a traffic problem. There are only offer problems. I was having this conversation with a friend of mine the other day where he had an offer that was doing really well, and now it's not. And he's like, God, I just got to figure out how to get more traffic to this offer. Well, the thing is, when the offer was new, when the offer was hot, it converted really, really well. The people were buying it, and traffic was easy. Now that the offer's gotten tired, it's not that it went bad, but it got old. A lot of people saw it. It's not performing as well. And so he thinks I need to get more traffic to it, but the reality is what he needs is he needs an offer. He needs an offer that is fully optimized. When you have a fully optimized offer, traffic takes care of itself. What do I mean by that? I mean, if you've got an offer that is converting well, that has a high average customer value, then you can pay the most money to affiliates. You go out to affiliates and say, hey guys, I'm going to pay you 50% commission on this offer, and everybody's going to want to promote it because they all make so much money. You've got enough money left over to hire the best SEO consultants, to hire the best agencies to drive traffic. The point is, if you focus on the offer, you can't fail. If you spend all your time focusing on the latest and greatest traffic strategy, you're going to be in this endless, hamster wheel where you're always just running, chasing the next new bright, shiny object. That's what we did for about 18 months. We were really good at it, but at the end of the year, we were tired and we were frustrated, and we didn't have anything to show for it in the form of a business asset. And if you're sitting there right now and you're feeling that same way, it probably has to do with the fact that you've been chasing the latest and greatest traffic strategies and not focusing on the offer, which is what we're going to talk about. So this concept of focusing on the offer and what we call full funnel optimization really was the $30 million breakthrough. That was what allowed us to break into 8 figures and beyond. It absolutely changed everything. It allowed us to get unstuck and grow to the next level. It allowed us to focus on what matters instead of shiny objects. It allowed us to declare independence from affiliates and joint ventures, which, if you've been in that space, you know how just taxing it can be to go out there and beg and plead for people to promote your offer. I mean, it just doesn't feel good. It's tiring. It's frustrating. And then once you get somebody to promote for you, they expect you to promote for them again, and it's kind of like you're just passing traffic and leads back and forth to the same people, and you never actually get anywhere. This gets you out of that rut. And finally, it allowed us to win in multiple markets. We were finally able to expand into markets in fitness and in finance and in preparedness and in do-it-yourself and in industrial water filter manufacturing and in legal services, and in the list goes on and on. The method that we have here, like I said, we can layer over just about any business there is, and because of that we can be in a lot of different businesses but not lose focus because we're focused on this. The business that we attach it to is interchangeable. So we call this process customer value optimization or full funnel optimization, and this is kind of a visual representation in my horrible screen. If Frank had drawn this, it would actually look good because Frank is a pretty good doodler. I, on the other hand, not so good. But you'll see reflected in here, there's actually 5 things. There's lead magnets, tripwires, core offer, profit maximizer, and return path. And these are actually the 5 things that make up this methodology. Your lead magnet, or the thing that you offer in exchange for an opt-in, the tripwire, which is the very first offer that everyone should see. We'll spend some time talking about what that is, because that's the one thing that almost nobody has in their marketing funnels. The core offer, which is your flagship offer, we'll talk about that, profit maximizer, and return path. So what I want to do in this training is break down each one of these 5 things. I want to show you some examples. I want to show you some case studies about how we optimized it, and I think you'll get a sense as we go through how each one of these things builds onto the next. You get a sense that like this stuff really does work, because it's not about going in and making this one massive dramatic change. It's not about this secret that nobody's told you about. It's about making a lot of little changes, none of which independently are very difficult to make, none of which independently would even be noticed. But when they're all made, the geometric improvement that occurs from it is pretty staggering, as you're about to see. So let's talk about the lead magnet first and foremost. The lead magnet, I think most people, certainly in the digital marketing, online marketing space, certainly people who have a direct response background, they understand the notion of a lead magnet. A lead magnet is simply a small chunk of value that solves a specific problem for a specific market, offered in exchange for an opt-in. And the word specific is big. We're going to talk about this a little bit, but if there's one big mistake that I see people making with their lead magnets, it's that they're too broad. So I'll give you a formula in just a little bit for how to construct a great lead magnet. Now, why a lead magnet? Because prospects want immediate gratification. They want something they can sink their teeth into now, and lead magnets give them that. I will tell you a formula for a really awful lead magnet. Frank, would you like to write a truly terrible lead magnet?
Yeah, why wouldn't I?
Right. I mean, we like to keep things challenging. But no, have you ever seen like people go, they're like, I'm going to opt into this like 7-day mini course? That is a bad lead magnet. A 7-day course is not a great lead magnet, because what you're basically telling the reader is it's going to take 7 days for you to actually experience the value, experience the change that you want to occur as a result of opting in. So people say, yeah, but I need 7 days to deliver it, or my conversion rate is higher when I drip my content out over 7 days instead of asking for things right off the bat. That's fine. That's fine. You can go ahead and take 7 days to deliver it. Just don't describe it that way on the front end. Okay? We'll talk more about that when we get into formulas. Now, again, like I said, the key is to be specific. So if I was going to target investors, right, I wanted to go after the investor market. A lot of people would want to post a thing about like, here's the top 10 investing strategies that you need to know to invest more gooder or something like that. What your people want is just show me the top dividend stocks. What are the top stocks that you believe will pay the highest dividends? Very specific. Forex traders, MetaTrader tutorials, right? Here's some tutorials on how to use MetaTrader. Now, if you don't know what MetaTrader is, it's because you're not a Forex trader. But a good lead magnet is going to call out to the market in the languaging that gets used. It's using a specific vocabulary, specific vernacular. If we're going to target bloggers, I might say how to appify your blog. So here's how to turn your blog into an app, or here's like top 10 WordPress plugins. For single guys, the KISS test, right? Our good friend Eben Pagan. Still, this is one of the best lead magnets I've ever seen in my life. The original Double Your Dating site, when you opted in, you got the KISS test. Frank, do you remember the KISS test? Do you remember what it actually was?
Trying to use the KISS test on me.
Yeah, and it worked.
Really
that's why we're doing this today. No, but here is the KISS test, because I think a lot of people misunderstand what a lead magnet needs to be. The KISS test was approximately 6 paragraphs of content, and the promise was, look, guys, when you opt in, I'm going to show you how to know when a girl is ready to be kissed. Now that's super specific. If you're a single guy, that's got to be one of the most terrifying. I mean, I've been married for 10 years now and married the first girl that was even willing to kiss me, so I don't know. But when you're a single guy, that moment at the end of a date where you're like, do I kiss her? Don't I? I don't want to be like a prude, but I don't want to be a perv either. Like, how does this work? Is something that causes a lot of concern. So he said, look, I've got it. I've got the formula. I'll tell you how to know when a girl's ready to kiss. And basically the way that it works is at the end of the date, you kind of lean in and you put your hand sort of up by her hair, kind of over by her ear, right? So you're not like grabbing. You're not being weird or anything like that. You just kind of lean in and you look sort of at where your hand is going. If she leans in, then she's ready to be kissed. If she sort of pulls away, then all you do is go, sorry, you had a little bit of fuzz in your hair, and you put it away, and you save face, and that's all good. Now, that takes approximately 6 paragraphs to explain. But in those 6 paragraphs, a lot has happened. Number one, a specific result was promised, and a specific result was delivered. It also changed the state of that buyer. It made them feel more confident. It made them think, you know what, if I actually manage to get a girl to talk to me, then I got a shot at kissing her now that I've got this thing. So when a lead magnet can promise and deliver on a specific problem and offer a specific solution, and it can change the state of that person and move them down that continuum of belief, because now what Eben was able to say in Double Your Dating is great. So you know how to kiss a girl if the time actually comes, but do you know how to actually go up and talk to him to begin with? Oh man, no, I don't know how to do that. But they have belief, they have confidence. Now they're open to investing so that they can get to that point. That's a powerful, powerful lead magnet. Moving on, horse owners. How to get your horse to stop cribbing. Now, if you're not a horse owner, you don't know what cribbing is. Cribbing is when horses chew on their stall, and it can actually be very, very dangerous to them. So if you've got a horse that's cribbing, you want them to stop. Specific problem, specific solution, using specific languaging targeted at that market. For preppers, how to get a second passport. For golfers, how to drive the ball 10 yards longer. Right? They don't want to know how to be a more consistent and accurate golfer. They just want to drive it 10 yards further. Now, the key to this is when it comes to lead magnet, titles matter. Titles are everything. In fact, as we're about to show you, they're about 50,000% more sales. And that sounds crazy, 50,000%, but I'll show you how that happened. Before I get to the case study, though, let me show you an example of titles really mattering. This is a book that was published in 1982 by an author named Nora Hayden called Astrological Love. Astrological Love, not the greatest title in the world, and clearly readers agreed as well because it sold less than 5,000 copies. But check this out. Some years later, the exact same book by the exact same author was republished and retitled. Okay, so same book, same author, just a different title. The new title was How to Satisfy a Woman Every Time and Have Her Beg for More. Now I ask you, which is a more specific problem? You know, which is a more specific promise? Astrological love, or how to satisfy a woman every time and have her beg for more? Obviously, this is a more specific one. Frank, you bought this book, right?
Oh, are you kidding? I bought the audio version too.
Yeah, nice. The nice thing is you are not alone. This was a #1 New York Times bestseller. It sold over 2.5 million copies when it was republished in 1998. That's the power of a title. That's why when you're constructing and optimizing your lead magnets, the title is really important. So the big lesson when it comes to the title, speak to the desired end result, right? So how to win friends and influence people. That's a title that speaks to the desired end result. Wake up productive. That's a title that speaks to the desired end result. Getting things done. It's a title that speaks to the desired end result. If you can do that in your lead magnet and in the deliverable there, you are going to see a significant jump in the number of people who are opting in to get whatever it is you're selling. And again, it has nothing to do with length. It has nothing to do with size, right? It has everything to do with the value that's being offered and the promise that you're going. Like I said, the KISS test was 6 paragraphs. It could be consumed in less than 30 seconds. In fact, you don't want to offer a really, really, really long book. You want it to be consumed. So here is a site, Social Media Examiner, and their lead magnet is join 205,000 of your peers. Get our latest articles delivered to your email inbox and get the free Facebook marketing video tutorial. So does anybody have any ideas for how they can make this better? Right, go ahead again. Feel free to chat in the box and throw out your ideas. I know some people say that some of the things that are good about it is it has social proof, right? So join 205,000 of your peers. That's good. But how could we make it? How can we make it better?
I'll tell you something while we're doing that that I kind of forgot about until just now. I won't say who it is, but I've had a customer and client and now friend for years who has been in a gazillion infomercials for like 13 years straight now. This person's been on television nationally every day. And the purpose of the infomercial is to essentially generate leads. And they have tested offering DVDs, offering books, offering CDs with audio, offering software, and all that kind of stuff. You want to guess which one won?
The book.
It did indeed. So there's a big belief out there, which is, okay, in order for me to have a good lead magnet, I need to have video. It's got to be video because everybody's doing video. Well, the reason everyone does video is because nobody ever tests. They see one guy doing video, so they think, well, it's got to be video. Someone did a video in a launch, so therefore we're using video. What we have found through our testing is that the printed material, the quick report, the white paper, the PDF, the book, converts better as a lead magnet than that other stuff. Now, it's still, you should test. You shouldn't take my word for it because every market and every scenario is different. But I would encourage you to test that. And the relief there is, if you're not good on camera and making video freaks you out, you probably don't have to make one.
Yep. And the nice thing is if you're thinking, yeah, but oh great, so now I got to write a book. You don't even have, again, I would point you back to the KISS test, right? You don't even have to go to that extent. So do what you can do, and then do what winds up working the best based on which, what you're able to do. So there's a lot of suggestions came in, and pretty much a lot of you guys hit on it. It's specificity. So what they're offering in exchange for the opt-in is free Facebook marketing video tutorial. I'm going to get a tutorial. That's not particularly sexy, and having a Facebook marketing video tutorial, there's no promised desired end result. Now, saying, and you'll get a free video on how you can get your first 1,000 fans on Facebook, that's specific, right? So always think specific promise. So here's what we did. Case study number one, and I wanted to show you an example of a case study of a non-traditional business where we deployed a lead magnet, because everybody thinks about this in terms of information products and things, and software even, but nobody thinks about it in terms. So I wanted to show you, this is for an industrial water filter manufacturing company that we own, that we acquired a couple years ago. This company before received 6 new prospects per month. Okay, 6 new prospects per month called in, and the reason that was is because this was their website. Just call us. They had no lead magnet whatsoever. Just, you want filters? Call us. That was it. So what we did is we added this at the top. We offered a wholesale catalog and price list. Okay, that was our lead magnet. Now you may be thinking, that's really, really boring. Well, that's for a couple of reasons. Number one, our partner in this business who owns it didn't want to get overly flashy. Number two, it is a business-to-business type thing. Number three, this is what actually everybody wants. The desired end result, when everybody was calling our number, what they were asking for is, what's the wholesale price? So we knew this is what they want. Their desired end result was to learn the wholesale price of our products, because we primarily sell through distributors. So distributors get the wholesale price. So even in this boring example, the wholesale catalog and price list, it is speaking to the desired end result of our customers. So again, we said before the number of new prospects was 6 per month. Well, after, we were also getting 6 new prospects, only we were getting 6 a day. Okay, so we went from 6 per month to 6 per day. That is a pretty significant increase. It was a 20x increase in qualified leads just through the introduction of a lead magnet. Now, I know for a lot of you guys, if you've been around marketing for any length of time, this is nothing really new, but hopefully it's opening your mind a little bit up to the potential there in non-traditional businesses. Now, A final tip I'll give you related to the lead magnet, but talking more about the landing page, is people also think that they need to write very long copy. We've tested this time and time again, and 9 times out of 10, short form copy converts higher when it comes to lead acquisition than long form copy. This is kind of our standard control page that you see here. It's a headline that makes a promise that speaks to the desired end result, and a call to action and a form. That's it, the simplest thing in the world. We actually got this template from Motley Fool, or fool.com. So we call this the Fool style landing page. And we've added a number of different iterations to it. This is one that we did that actually gets a 43% opt-in rate to cold traffic, and it's just a headline. That's it. It's the simplest form in the world. And by the way, how to sell 100 books a day on Amazon Kindle, that's also the title of the report that we give away, of the lead magnet. So if you want to keep it really simple, if you've done a great job titling your lead magnet, which you talked about before, right? Remember the, how to please a woman every time and ever beg for more? If you've done a good job titling your lead magnet, then you've also already written your copy for your landing page. And this is what beats long, expansive copy 9 times out of 10. Super duper simple stuff, and this is very, very well optimized. Now feel free to get a little bit creative playing with background colors and things like that. So we took that same format. We tried a girl next door. We tried Bikini Girl. We tried one that was just a picture of the lead magnet, and then this one that was a picture of the lead magnet but a lot more plain. Now a couple things to point out if you're going to do this. Anytime you have people on the page, make sure they are looking at the area where you want the action to take place. So you can see both women, their eyes are looking at the area of action. You can also test it where they're looking out at your reader, at your visitor, but they should never be looking away. Okay, they should never be looking off the page away, because eyes tend to follow eyes. So just a little tip to keep in mind. Also, it should evoke a certain lifestyle, a certain feeling. So Frank, do you care to wager a guess as to which one of these performed the best? And actually you guys can vote as well. So we've got, let's call this like Girl Next Door is the upper left hand corner, Bikini Girl, blue background, and white background. Frank, do you care to wager a guess which one performed the best?
Dude, are you putting me on the spot? If you would have let me know which one won ahead of time, I would have been able to make it sound like I was smart. I'm going to guess the white one.
The white one?
Uh-huh.
Well, the good news is you get to sound smart. It was the white one.
Awesome.
Yeah, look at that. So there you go. And that actually, we obviously had not talked about this ahead of time. Yeah, it was the one.
My first guess was going to be the girl at the top, and I was like, no, man, I like that white one. And my guess was why is because the opt-in box is the only one that has black text against a white background, or light background. And, and that's one thing to always keep in mind is model what has worked. And if anyone's been a student of marketing and advertising, I've heard of David Ogilvy, and he spent untold billions of dollars running and testing print media, and found that the absolute worst possible combination was to put white text against a black background. That converted worse than anything. So that's why I went with the white one. I'm happy to see I was right.
Yeah, that is beautiful. And we also found it's actually not all white. The area in there is a very light blue if you look closely. And that light blue color, that robin's egg blue, has tested really well for us because it's a nice, soft, but still a trust color. So, but it's soft enough, unlike the other ones, to still be able to put black text in. So yeah, I think that's a big part of it. Now, what women do, attractive women on pages do usually win. It's either a straight up lead magnet in a very, like having a hero shot of the thing that they're getting, or an attractive woman. Dudes almost, and by almost never, I mean they've never won in any test. Women like looking at women, men like looking at women. Nobody likes looking at dudes because we are disgusting. So some recommended tests when you get into the lead magnet for ways to optimize this. The lead magnet title, that's the biggie, guys. And these you should definitely be writing these down. The timing of the lead magnet delivery. Don't stretch it out over a whole bunch of days. The length and the type of landing page that you're doing, the landing page headline, don't get overly creative. If you've got a great title for your lead magnet, make that your headline. It'd be completely congruent. It should also, by the way, be the copy that's on your banner ad or on your AdWords ad or on your Facebook ad. Have congruency throughout. That tests very, very well, and it's also easy. And then landing page frequency, so the number of landing pages, if you have a blog, the number of opt-in opportunities that are on your site, you're typically going to see a bump, but don't overdo it to the point that it looks totally weird. So when we go in and when we're working with clients, we typically can double the number of new leads that they're getting by optimizing in these areas. So if you're doubling the number of leads that are coming in, that's twice as many people, and as long as they're the same quality, that in and of itself can double sales. Now, oftentimes you double the number of leads coming through, it's not going to quite double sales, but it's going to get you a bump, especially if you deploy everything else. So that's the first thing. Frank, do you have anything to add to the lead magnet discussion before we move on?
I want to live up to a promise of all things.
Yeah. Oh,
can you
go
back 2 slides? Do you?
This one?
Okay, we have found little bumps gotten, and by little, let's see, the first test was 6%, and the final test was 20% bump, in changing one other thing on these landing pages, and that is the text on the button. So when in the bullet points of this boot camp, I don't know if you guys actually really remember anything that was said on there, but I want to live up to what we promised. So I told you in the copy that we would show you a little thing that everyone ignores has been giving us a great bump, and that is changing what the button text and colors are. So our next test on this white one would be to test it against a button of the same color that said, send me the report. And my usual button is send me info is what works, but in this case, since we're actually advertising a report, I'd say send me the report, and I would test it against that one, and then I would test as another test, making that button green and having it say send me the report. And my guess is one of the two where it says send me the report will significantly beat the one that says free instant access. And I learned that I did not figure that out on my own. I learned that from a website called Content Verve. And I've forgotten the dude's name who runs that blog, but he's a conversion guy, and he's very, very smart, and just wanted to give credit where credit was due on that one. But nobody messes with the dang buttons. We get these little templates, that have the buttons, and we just think that if it says add to cart or free instant access, it must work because everybody else uses it, and thank God that's the common mentality because it's often wrong. So I just wanted to show you some stuff some new developments that we've discovered. Thanks for reading outside of the usual industry stuff there. That's working very well.
Yeah. No, great. Very good addition. And that is something that you can see here. We hadn't tested either. We've kind of got our controls there, and that's why it's good. And I should add to this list. So add to this list. Button text. Button text, add to this list. I know I will be adding it as soon as this is done. Thank you, Frank.
And put it on the copy.
Who reads that stuff?
I don't know. No. Somebody, surely. They registered, so someone had to have read it. I'm sure that one bullet is what made people register. So.
Exactly. Now everybody just bails off. They're like, well, I got the one I came for.
Okay, that was the end of that. Everything else is crappy.
No, that is a very, very good thing. And so often, it's the little things like that we forget about. All right, so the tripwire. This is the one that, talking about stuff that people forget about. This is something that just nobody really knows about. Nobody really understands this notion of a tripwire offer. And so when we talk about a tripwire offer, what we're talking about is a very, very, very low ticket offer. Okay, an irresistible, super low ticket offer that converts prospects into buyers. Okay, that converts prospects into buyers. And that's an important distinction because just the act of somebody giving you $1 fundamentally changes the relationship, right? They are now a customer. That is a very different relationship than somebody being than somebody being just a prospect. And so that's the power of a tripwire. When that relationship is changed, now you have an opportunity to advance the relationship even further. And the best tripwire example of all time really is Columbia House Records. And at one point, they were 15% of all music sales as a result of a tripwire offer. You get 13 records or tapes for $1. Right? That is a crazy good tripwire offer. You could become a customer of theirs for only $1, whereas for the local record shop, you know, you were spending 10, 15 times that to become a customer, and you only got one thing. So they just got more customers than anybody else. And if you've got more customers than anybody else, you're going to win. All right, so when we're coming up with lead magnets, the key is to find to find their cheese. Now, this concept of the cheese is not something that we invented. It was actually a mutual friend of mine and Frank's named Dean Jackson. He and Joe Polish do a podcast called I Love Marketing. It's a great podcast. Everybody should definitely subscribe to it. And on one of the episodes, Dean sort of laid out this concept of cheese and whiskers. I don't have time to go into it all here, but the basic premise is that you know, a mouse will chew through a solid steel door if he thinks that there's a piece of cheese on the other side. You know, mice love cheese. They need cheese, right? They gotta have their cheese. But at the slightest little flicker of a cat's whisker, they're gone, because cats eat mice, right? And so when we're looking at copy and we're creating offers, we want to ask ourselves, do we perform like a cheese and whiskers audit? Like, where is it cheesy, where are their whiskers? And we want to make sure that when we're creating a tripwire that it's all about the cheese. It's all about coming up with what your prospect not only wants, but what they really, really inherently need. Now, one of the best examples of this is one of our partners, Perry. In a previous life, he owned craftstore.com, which was a e-commerce property that catered to crafters, and one of the biggest segments of that market were candle makers. So what do candle makers need more than anything else? Well, they need wicks, right? You can't have a candle without a wick. It's like impossible. You've got to have a freaking wick. So Perry did a really smart thing. He went out there and he said, you know what, I'm going to have the best deal on wicks, because nobody but candle makers buys wicks. I don't know if you ever bought a replacement wick for a candle, Frank? I never have.
Yes.
All the time. Yeah, exactly. The wicks always go before the wax. I don't know why. You're doing it wrong. But anyway, so he went out there and he said, I'm going to have the best deal on wicks. He direct imported these candle wicks, and you know, where everybody else was selling candle wicks for, I don't know, $15 for 100 of them, he sold it for like, you know, dead import cost. Now, so if you were in the candle making business, you had to buy your wicks from Perry. You were stupid not to. But a funny thing happened. When people bought their wicks from him, they also said, you know, what do you have? Do you sell wax too? Yeah, we sell wax. What about fragrances? Yeah, we got those too. And even though he wasn't, you know, as competitive on those other items, because everybody came to him for their cheese, they went ahead and picked up all the milk and the bread and all the other stuff that they needed along the way as well. That's the power of a tripwire offer. Here's a guy that does it on eBay. He sells lots of 1,000 guitar picks for $8. Now, I'm not a guitar player. I don't know if that's a good deal or a bad deal or anything like that, but what I do know is that if you're not a guitar player, you don't buy picks. If you are a guitar player, you have to have a pick. This guy has sold, look at it on the right-hand corner, 91,865. He's had 91,865. That means that this guy has a list of 91,865 guitar players who have all bought something from him. Now, those may be some repeat business, but still, he's got tens of thousands of buyer leads on his list by selling picks. Now, he's probably not making a lot of money off of it, but who cares? He's getting buyers. In the water filter business, this is the thing that everybody wants. Everybody wants the 10-inch Big Blue 1-micron sediment filter. This site sells them for $13.25. We sell them for $2.95. If you're going to buy a 10-inch Big Blue sediment filter, you're going to buy it from us. And then while you're buying it from us, you might buy a housing, you might do RO membrane, all that other stuff. So hopefully with these examples, you're starting to get the idea. In the survival and preparedness space, so survivallife.com is a property of ours. And the big thing that they want is water purification. So we have this report called 170 gallons a day, and it's actually an interesting story. When we first acquired this business, it had a list of 113,000 people, 113,636. That was its list size. It was a good little business, but it only had one product. Okay, it had a single product, and basically everybody on that list of 113,000 people had seen that product. They had been bludgeoned to death with that particular product, and so they weren't buying anymore. I mean, you'd send out an email, and you know, I mean, if 1,000 people came, we might make $700 or something like that. It was pretty bad because everybody had seen it. So we did something interesting. We went to the product, and one of the bonuses when people bought this product was this little report here, 170 gallons a day. That was one of the bonuses that you got for free when you bought the product for $47. And we said, you know what, this is the thing that everybody wants. Everybody wants to be able to purify water, so let's take a bonus and turn it into a tripwire. Let's sell something that does have a good solid value, and instead of bundling it with the main product and giving it away for free, let's take it out of the core offer and front-end it and sell it to the list. So here's what happened. To that same list of 113,000 people, we offered this report for $7, and we sold 9,926 of them in 30 days. It was an 8% conversion rate. And this was a list of people, again, they had already seen the core offer. They had already seen the $47 offer, and if they had scrolled all the way down and read the bonuses, they would have seen that they got this one for free. But nobody had done that. It's like you guys. You didn't read the bullet point that Frank talked about earlier. Now, here's the crazy thing. Of the 9,926 people who bought the $7 report, 2,536 people bought the $47 course. Now that's amazing in and of itself, but it's even more amazing when you consider that these 113,000 people, they had already seen this product. Literally, this is the only product that had been sold to this list for months. So the fact that another 2,500 people came and bought this course that they have seen proves, it shows that that low dollar sale, changing that relationship, makes them more receptive to spending a lot more money. So the tripwire sales off of this promotion was $69,482. The core offer sales, the $2,500, was $119,192 for total sales of $188,674 from a dead list that had already seen this offer. That's the power of a tripwire offer. And oftentimes when we're working with clients, it's not a matter of creating something new, it's a matter of repositioning stuff that's already there. So to give you a 1,000-click snapshot, you know, before that $47 report, the $47 product averaged about a 1.5% conversion rate, and that was on a pretty steep decline. So 1,000 visitors would yield about $705. After, with an 8% tripwire conversion rate, the 1,000 visitors for that, and a core offer with 30% of the people that bought the $7 went ahead and upgraded to the $47 one, we were now up to $1,768 per 1,000 visitors, or 160% increase in visitor value. Okay, so we more than doubled visitor value just by implementing a tripwire. That's a biggie. So, but bonuses and reports, that's not the only thing. You can use software as a tripwire. This is a little piece of software that we sell for 20 bucks and then upsell a $300 training. This is one, we've used webinars as tripwires. Candidly, the webinar that you guys are on right now was a tripwire offer. It's not one where we kept any of the money. It's not one where we have, like, you know, grand ambitions about it, something we just do every year for charity, but it's a type of tripwire offer. We did a tripwire offer earlier in the year, in the summer, when everything was big with Gmail's new tabs, the new promotional tab. We did a $7 webinar. We talked about, here's 13 ways to optimize your email marketing. And on the back of that webinar, we offered membership into Digital Marketer Lab, and this promotion, this webinar, wound up doing $250,000 in total sales as a result of a $7 tripwire. It was crazy. Physical products can be a tripwire. These are pedometers. Today, if I were to put out a course on fitness, or I were to put out a course on walking, I would not try to sell an ebook on Walk Yourself Thin. I would sell a pedometer, because nobody's buying a pedometer unless they want to lose weight by walking. You get these pedometers on and little gadgets like this. This one right here, and we call it the survival business card. This is like an 80-cent item, but when we sell it, it gets a 10 to 15% conversion rate to the sale. You can find all these types of items on Alibaba.com. Right? But back to the pedometers, nobody's going to buy a pedometer unless they want to walk a lot and track their walking. So somebody's going to be way more likely to buy your information product on Walk Yourself Thin if you sell them a pedometer first. And the pedometer is going to convert a whole heck of a lot better, especially if you sell that pedometer for $2, right? Sell it at dead cost, just acquire a customer. We've even done this offline. We've done it in the trade show space. So we did a trade show for a marketing agency, and in the past this marketing agency just went to the trade shows and they would try to direct sell their services at like $500 to $1,000 a month. We said, no, don't do that. Do something, one small little thing for 20 bucks. So we did a tripwire offer at the trade show, and people came up and it said, hey, we want to make a video for you and just optimize it and get it to the top of Google for you, and we'll do it for 20 bucks. Something that could be done really quickly by anybody who understands, basic YouTube marketing stuff. But once we showed proof, once we changed that relationship and made them a client, these are the results we got. This particular trade show had 2,000 attendees. 603 people approached the booth. We actually had somebody sitting there with one of those clickers keeping track of how many people approached the booth. 87 people bought the tripwire. In previous years, they hadn't even collected 87 business cards off of this trade show. They got 87 people to buy the tripwire because they made a very specific offer with a specific promise. Let us get you some more customers. 19 of those 87 converted to $500 a month course sales immediately. So they went ahead and converted right then and there at the show, and another 23 more converted via the phone after they got their results because they were already a client. They weren't going from prospect to client, they were going from client to higher level client. Even though the jump was from $20 to $500 a month, mentally it's not as much. So before they averaged 3 new clients per show at $500 a month, they had pretty much given up trade shows, decided these don't make any money. At the one that we were at with them, they did $21,300 per month in recurring revenue. Given an average 7-month stick rate, you're talking $149,100, and there's 200 trade shows a year that these guys could attend. It totally changed the face of their business because of the tripwire. So like I said before, 3 clients at $500 a month would be like $10,500 lifetime customer value, because again, this assumes a 7-month stick rate. After 42 clients at $500 a month, $149,100 lifetime customer value. Plus, there's 87 tripwire clients they could follow up with via the return path, which we'll talk about later. And this was the cool thing: the tripwire sales, the 20 tripwire sales, the 87 tripwire sales at 20 bucks, that covered the booth costs. That covered kind of their, their cost of setting up the booth and stuff like that. So it was just a nice little booyah. So again, the Survival Life case study, that was a 5x increase in total customers, 160% immediate revenue increase, and the trade show case study, a 1,437% revenue growth. So from 10,500 to 150,000, and $68,240 in immediate revenue, up from maybe $1,500. Not that 150,000 was there's the math on that, kind of how that stuff worked out. So that's the power of a tripwire. And now you can see why, thanks to tripwire offers, our clients regularly see their sales double. So if we can double the leads through optimizing the lead magnet and double the sales through optimizing the tripwire, it gets really big really fast. We're only through 2 of the 5. Now don't worry, the next 3 are going to go a lot more quickly. All right, so some recommended tests: name and title of your tripwire, the headline on the landing page, which again can just be whatever your tripwire is. You don't have to be overly creative because it's something people already want. The price point, bundled versus standalone. So do you want to bundle a tripwire with a core offer? And then digital versus physical. Typically, physical is going to way outperform digital time and time again. Frank, do you have anything to add to the tripwire stuff before we move on?
Yeah, I want to raise the point that don't view the tripwire alone as a source of profit. You need to understand that even if you take a little bit of a loss on the tripwire immediately, the presentation of core offer, because of that law of commitment and consistency and that fundamental law that once they become a customer, it's just instantly easier for them to make another purchase, that usually dictates a scenario in which the addition of tripwire before the core offer, the combination of those two combined, causes your profitability overall to jump up a lot. So when I explain this to people who are sort of new, they're like, wait a minute, but if I sell an ebook at $7, I'm going to make so much less money. And you would if you only sold like the thing for $7 or whatever. That's why you have to immediately present your core offer and have the rest of this formula in place.
Yeah, that's why you got to have a funnel. If you just If you stop with one thing, it is not a funnel. It's not a
That's
machine. It's not
exactly
a
it. If we could like diagnose the problem that a lot of people face that are in our community, there's two things. One, doing nothing, and usually that's a result of overwhelm. And number two, it is doing an incomplete job of building the system, right? So there's really nothing that's going to be able to defeat a well-honed process. And I like to refer to these as a conversion process and conversion experience. So it's not just about coming in and buying a tripwire, or coming in and buying the main thing, or coming in and experiencing the next parts of the funnel we're going to talk about. They all need to be implemented synergistically together.
yeah, and that's why we're laying this out.
In
That's
the
why
way that
we're
we
laying this out sequentially. Yeah, and just to your point about sometimes you got to break even or even lose a little bit of money. We sell one of our items that we sell is a credit card knife. It looks like a credit card, but then it folds up into a knife. Last month we sold 42,000 of those things. This month we're going to be just under 70,000 of those that we'll sell. Next month we should sell around, because it's in the holidays, fourth quarter, we should sell around 100,000 units of this credit card knife. We lose $1 every single time we sell one of those things, but we're putting approximately 2,000 to 2,500 people a week into our $20 a month continuity program on the back of that, our $20 a month subscription. And it's not forced continuity or any shenanigans like that. It's saying, hey, you bought this credit card knife. It means you're probably interested in preparedness. We got this newsletter. If you'd like to be a subscriber, we'll give you this other premium. If you sign up, sign up. And people do it. They sign up again. And so when you do the math, I mean, it's not even close. And we happily lose that dollar as opposed to, because we want the volume. All right,
the
the
most
core.
successful campaigns I ever ran was a couple of years ago, which was the Name Frank's Book campaign. So anyone who knows me, if you are, I pity you actually, if you can remember this, because it's back to 2011 or 2010, it means that we're all sticking by our computer too long. But in 2010 or 11, I forgot, I had this campaign where I held up a book with a big question mark on it. And I was like, hey, I'll send you a copy of this book for free. You pay shipping only. If you help me come up with the name, I'd really appreciate it. And for every $7 order of that book, which I shipped to them physically, I lost about $6. But I immediately offered core products after that, and that campaign overall ended up bringing in something like $300,000 in profits in around 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, we found for the credit card knife, if we charged $4.95, we could make $1 on every one of them, but we got 40% less customers, which meant we lost hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars as a result of saving, that buck. I mean, it wasn't even close. So it's just kind of math. I'm not saying you got to start out losing money, but you get to a point with this when it really starts kicked in, when it's honed, when your conversion machine is dialed in, you're like, God, I just want to give stuff away as inexpensively as I can because I just want the customers.
Mm-hmm.
If you got the tripwire, guys, you're going to be head and shoulders above your competition. It's as simple as that, because nobody is doing it. The third aspect is the core offer. We're oddly enough going to spend the least amount of time talking about the core offer, although this is where everybody spends the majority of their focus. When we work with clients, we find that they've usually done a pretty good job with their core offer, their flagship product. They've optimized it a fair bit. But what's funny about this is you'll hear people talking, and it's like, yeah, we just doubled our conversion rates. We went from 2% to 4%. It's like we went from, instead of 98 people out of 100 not buying our stuff, only 96 people out of 100 aren't buying our stuff. I mean, when you put it like that, it's kind of ridiculous. Like, this is not where the real money is. The money is not in conversion rate optimization from let's try to optimize the sales conversion rate of our letter. You do it to an extent, and then it's kind of diminishing returns. It's only gonna be so good. You're far better off to get more leads from a lead magnet, or to put a tripwire in place so you get more buyers, because that's going to facilitate more people coming through. And this is why what most people do when it comes to conversion rate optimization and just business growth, the way they approach marketing and conversion and optimization in general, is flawed. It's a completely flawed model because they're focusing on the wrong area. It's not about getting your conversion rate from 2% to 4%. Like, that's a big deal. That's a doubling of the conversion rate. But that's not actually going to have the same type of, you're going to get much more improvement if you optimize throughout your funnel. So just to clarify, the goal is not to optimize conversion rates. Yes, we want to do that to an extent, but the real goal is to optimize total revenue, okay? We want to optimize total revenue. Looking at what we were talking about just before with the tripwire, you want to look at it. How much money are we making overall? That's where the focus needs to be. So I'll give you a couple of big tips when it comes to general optimization strategy. We don't have time to go into, we actually have 25 points of optimization. We're going to optimize a core offer. We go through and we have 25 tweaks that we make to that offer. And believe it or not, the very last thing that we optimize is price point. We drop the price as low as we can possibly stand. We optimize 25 different things, and then we start ratcheting the price up. That's our model. We don't really have time to go into that, but so I'll give you 3 big tips when it comes to optimizing the conversion rate of your core offer. The first thing is that sequence is everything. When I look and when we're doing copy reviews and working with clients, oftentimes just the sequence of their offer is way, way off. They'll ask for the sale too early, or they won't do a good enough job of building the value before they ask for it. And you got to think about it like dating, right? So if you're going to go up to, if you're a guy, you're going to go up to a girl like this at a bar, you're not just going to be like, hey, how's it going? You look pretty, want to go back to my place, right? The sequence is out of order. There's a process of romancing that we all kind of intrinsically, except for like weirdos and perverts, for the most part, we all intrinsically understand the process of romancing when it comes to interpersonal communication. This isn't just, between members of the opposite sex. We do the same thing, in platonic relationship. We do the same thing in business, right? At job interviews. But for some reason, we come to selling, we get all weird and janky. So think about it like you're talking to a real person, because, oh yeah, you are. Now, our business partner, Perry Belcher, he produced a fantastic blog post that sums up the 21-step sales letter. If you follow this in your sales letters, in your sales processes, you will be right a lot more times than you're wrong. Now, if you're an advanced copywriter, you may find that depending on the type of offer you're making, you can move things around. And, the John Carltons of the world and the Frank Kerns and the Perry Bell, these guys can do this sort of thing. If you're just getting started and you're writing your copy yourself, follow this formula, okay? You will do no harm. And I think that that's one of the biggest aspects of it. So there you go, perrybelcher.com, 21-step sales letter, or you can just Google 21-step sales letter Perry Belcher, and it lists it all out there. That's kind of a gift from us that not enough people know about this and utilize that. The second big tip, nothing converts like proof. If you have proof, lead with it. This was an offer that we saw where a guy was selling a product on how to drive the ball farther for golfers, and the dude just sat there and he was like, hi, my name is Bob, and I'm really good at driving the ball. And then he just stuck a ball up there and just whacked this ball through this piece of plywood. And you're just sitting there, and he did it a couple times. He said, if you'd like to learn how to drive the ball really hard like me, I'll show you how to do this. Just buy my video. It was like, done. Okay, cool. I saw proof. With my own eyes, I saw proof, and proof trumps all. If you have proof, lead with proof. If you don't have proof, maybe you shouldn't be selling what you're selling. Big tip number 3, optimize your order forms, okay? This is a biggie. It's an area of optimization with the core offer that most people forget about. Just by making the elements on the order form clickable, we saw a significant improvement. I'll tell you what that was in just a little bit, but we found we put Crazy Egg and some other analytics tools on our page, and we found that people were clicking on all the images. Like, we didn't know why they were clicking on it, but they were, and nothing was happening, and so they were bailing out, they were leaving. So we started making things like our guarantee seals clickable. So now when you click the guarantee seal, it tells you the guarantee. If you click on the secure checkout, it says, hey, this is encrypted and blah, 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 blah. That, like, when they click on stuff, something happens. This actually cut our cart abandonment rate in half, okay? Making stuff clickable in the order form cut our cart abandonment rate in half. In other words, when you cut your cart abandonment rate in half, your sales double. So that's a biggie. So think about optimizing your order forms and your shopping carts. So some recommended tests for the core offer. Price point's a biggie. Single pay versus multi-pay. Trial versus no trial. Your headline is going to be a big one. One-step versus multi-step. If you have a guarantee, like how long is your guarantee, or if you have a trial, how long is your trial? text versus video versus a hybrid sales process. Video usually gets us a 50% to 200% bump over text alone, although not always. Depends on the market and it depends on the type of offer. Like I said, we got 25 different things that we covered test, but these are the high points. All right, these are the biggies. Frank, anything you want to add to that?
I think that was perfect, actually.
Cool. So thing number 4 is the profit maximizer. And here's the deal with the profit maximizer. I'll get to the science behind it just a little bit, but here's the most important thing. Our goal when we go into a business, when we're working with a client or if it's a portfolio company, is to find out from them, the number one question that we want answered is, what is the current average customer value? What's the current immediate average customer value? Now, if you've got one product that you sell, if you've just got one $47 ebook, then guess what? Your immediate customer value, your immediate average customer value is $47. If you've got an upsell for 20 bucks and half the people buy it, now it's $57, right? Half the people buy something for 20 bucks, it's an extra 10 bucks on average. You get the idea. Our goal with the profit maximizer is to double the immediate average customer value. If we can do that, certainly if we have more customers, that not only are we making more money as a company, but we have more money to invest in marketing, and that's the biggie. That's the biggie at the end of the day. Now, there's something you need to understand that happens when we buy, especially we as Westerners. There's actually a dopamine release that occurs when we make a purchase that is akin to kissing somebody, right? Or for some people, it's right up there with like eating chocolate, those types of things. And this is the reason that shopping can become an actual addiction, right? You've heard about shopaholics and things like that. It can be an actual physical addiction because people get addicted to the dopamine release that occurs when that action is taken. Now, we can go into all the sociological ramifications of that on a different webinar that probably no one would show up for. But the point is, when somebody buys something, they are in heat. There is a moment where they are ready and willing and able to buy more. And if you don't take advantage of that moment, if you wait, not only are they less likely to buy, they actually get to a point where they don't want to buy. Have you ever heard the phrase of buyer's remorse? Buyer's remorse is another way, it's sort of like a sugar crash, right? If you eat a lot of sugar and then you have a sugar crash, buyer's remorse is that same type of thing. The dopamine's been released, then it's gone, now reality sets in, and sometimes, depending on what we just bought, we might feel guilty about it, right? That's why you want to get them while they're in the zone. I don't mean get them with just like, hey, rape and pillage for all you can stand. No, I mean deliver value in a way that's meaningful. So there are seven different types of profit maximizers that we've identified. I don't have time to go into all of them in any great depth, but just so you can get a sense of what they are: immediate upsells, cross-sells, Slack adjusters, bundles of kits, value buckets, line extensions, premium subscriptions. The ultimate one of all is the immediate upsell, and that's you want fries with that, right? You bought a hamburger, you want fries with that. That's an immediate upsell. A lot of people are familiar with this concept, but what they don't realize is that the profit that occurs as a result of the sale of the fries and the Coke is 7.3 times that of the core sale. So the profit on a burger alone is only about 18 cents by the time you factor in cost of goods sold and customer acquisition. If it weren't for the fries and the Coke on the back end, there would be no McDonald's. That's important. That's a very mature business, and that's how it functions. Your business should function somewhat similar to that. Now, we did this with a business, an e-commerce business that sells, they sell small industrial manufacturing equipment. So they had this heat sealer that they sold, all right? And we decided to put in, as an upsell, a replacement element. So the heating element in a heat sealer, the element is the metal string in there essentially that heats up, that when you put it on something actually melts it. And that's kind of the only thing in these heat sealers that goes bad. It's the thing that people are going to want more of. So we said, hey, you got a heat sealer. By the way, the only thing that really goes bad in these things is heating element. Do you want to buy a packet of more of them to give your heat sealer even more life? Well, the core offer, the heat sealer itself, sells for $250. Now, because this is a drop ship deal, the company we're working with only had about a 40% profit margin. So they only earned about $100 on that $250 sale. The other $150 went to the manufacturer. Now the cost to acquire the customer after AdWords cost, which was their primary traffic source, was $70. Okay, it cost them, so to acquire a $250 customer cost them $70, but they only had $100, so their net profit in selling a $250 heat sealer was 30%. It's better than a 10% net profit, not too shabby, but not that great. All right, but check this out. The immediate upsell, the extra elements, we sold for $60. Now, believe it or not, this was a 100% profit margin because the factory where they were getting the heat sealers from just gave them the elements for free. So it's a 100% profit item, 100% margin item. They got a 50% take rate on it, so they got an extra $30 per sale. An extra $30 per sale. That means they made as much off the elements as they made off the core offer, and it was a 100% increase in profit on just that one item. That's the power of a profit maximizer. Now they can go out there and they could spend even more money. They could go out there and they could spend, going back to this example, they could spend, if they wanted to, $100 to acquire a customer, right? Because they're going to make their $30, and if they can acquire a lot more customers for that, then maybe that's the right way to go. This is nothing new. Amazon does cross-sells where it's people who bought this also bought that. That's cross-sell. It's a different item that's not directly related to the main one. There's also Slack adjusters. If you've been into Starbucks and you've seen them selling like an $800 cappuccino machine, that's an upsell that's a Slack adjuster. It's a Slack adjuster is going to be anywhere from 5 to 10 times, or at least 10 times the cost of the core offer is going to be a Slack adjuster. You don't have to sell a lot, but when you do, it makes a really big impact. Events and consulting are a great Slack adjuster. And this was actually an aspect of our business that we added. And if you want to add a consulting practice to the back of if you have an information products business or a services business and you want to add a consulting practice to the back of it, here are 3 words that you can use to launch this within the sales funnels you already have. After somebody buys your product, on the thank you page, just put these 3 words. Want some help? So somebody just bought a product from you. You can put on the thank you page, hey, you want some help? You know, we found that our customers or our clients who get personal individual attention from us usually have the best results. If you would like some help, give us a call. And people can call you, they can fill out an application, and you can offer to sell them some additional consulting. When we did this, when we offered done for you consulting, it added an extra $453,000 from a base of just 1,500 buyers. That's the power of a Slack adjuster. Almost $500,000 from 1,500 buyers. Bundles and kits, this is a great example of bundling and kitting. This is a razor. It's a $30 like high-end old school razor called the Merkur razor. Sells for on Amazon for $30.52. But check this out. This is a 5-piece chrome shaving kit that includes the Merkur razor. Now I ask you, how much was the Merkur razor? It was $30, right? But look at the kit. The kit's $112. Well, we went ahead and ordered these things. The little stand and the brush and the little bowl and the wax, with the exception of the wax everything else was from China. All that other stuff in that kit was maybe $15 to $20 in extra stuff that they threw in. You got $15, $20 in extra stuff. You got a $30 razor. It's $50 in value in cost, and surely the person who was doing this was getting some type of wholesale on that razor. But they were able to ask $112 for the kit as a whole. So be thinking when you're optimizing your upsells, how can I kit things together so that the sum of the parts is greater than, the whole of the parts is greater than any one of them individually. You see cable companies bundling, right? Get which bundle do you want? Do you want to bundle phone and internet and stuff like that? You'll see value buckets, right? You see this if you buy 2 get 1 free. How can you take one of the same thing and bundle them together and create a value bucket? That's a biggie. Line extensions, just as a result of offering more products, you can maximize your profits. In the water filter business, like I said, they manufacture and sell these things, string wound water filters. But do you know where these string wound water filters go? They go in these things. These are housings. These housings sell for anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000. They have a good, solid margin on it. These things sell for $2, $3, $10, $12, $15, $18. These sell for $2,000, $3,000. Everyone who buys one of these puts them in one of these. But did Rapid Filters sell these? Did they sell the high-end housings? No, they didn't. So we went to them, we said, we're going to work a deal with a different distributor, and we're going to sell these from now. And now we make a whole lot more money selling these just by doing a line extension than we did from selling the string mount filters. Recurring billing is the last and probably one of my favorite profit maximizers. You've had tanning salons that have done this forever. In our area, there's even car washes that do this, so it's come and get your car wash unlimited times for a flat fee per month. Birchbox, you're seeing this happening in e-commerce, where e-commerce stores are bundling things together. You're getting kind of a box of the month. It's a big, big, big trend right now. So subscriptions are not limited to just software and digital products. It works with physical products as well. We did this. This is one of the things that we added when we took over the survival business. We added a newsletter, a monthly newsletter that went out called the Lamplighter Society. As this screenshot was taken, and this has been a couple of months actually, I big time need to update this screenshot. There were 8,449 subscribers. That was 868,500. When we took the screenshot and figured out the numbers, we were doing $168,557.55 a month. And like I said, we are adding right now, as a result of a winning Tripwire offer, 2,000 new people a week. Okay, think about that. Pretty crazy. And you know, all this came about just by adding a premium subscription offer to the back of products that they were already selling. That's the power of subscription. It just builds and builds and builds and builds and builds. Now, the ultimate formula, if you want to craft a winning profit maximizer, here is the ultimate formula: speed and automation. Okay, if you can craft an offer, a lot of people say, I don't want to do upselling because it's annoying. You know, my customers don't like it. You know when your customers don't like an upsell? Your customers don't like an upsell when you say, hey, you just bought this thing and it's going to deliver this particular desired end result. And then on the next page you say, hey, great, thanks so much for your purchase. You should buy this other thing that's going to get the same desired end result. That pisses people off because you've sold them on the fact that the thing you've sold them on is going to get them a great result. Now you're telling them that, oh no, you need this other thing too if you want to get that great result. That's bait and switch. That's lying. If, on the other hand, you say to them after they've made their initial purchase of the core offer, wow, you made a great purchase. Congratulations on it. You're going to be really happy with it. It's going to deliver the desired end result that you hoped it would. But you know what? If you also invest in this thing over here, it's going to get you that same result faster and without you having to do as much work. Now people don't get upset. You haven't added more to it. You're simply telling them that they can get the same desired end result faster and with less work. So it's a supplement. So think along the lines of what stuff can I offer my customers that when bundled with the core offer will get them the result they want faster and with them having to do less work or take less risk. That's a speed and automation profit maximizer, and that's what people love. Frank, you got anything to add to that before we move into the fifth and final thing and then get to take a little bit of a break?
Just the dehassleification. So even if it's not speed and automation, even if it's some level of done-for-you stuff, you know, for example, we've got this house and we're moving into this new place here in January, and it's got one of these, what the heck is the fancy home Crestron? It's got some Crestron system in there that is ridiculously complicated and fancy, and it's much to my dismay because all I want to do is stick a $100 Apple TV in there, you know. So now I go out, I'm like, oh man, you know, what do I got to buy a new Apple TV and somehow plug it into this thing. And I'm thinking, dude, I would happily pay 10 times the cost of the Apple TV just to have someone bring the Apple TV to my house and figure out how to plug it into this Crestron thing so I don't have to do anything. Another example is Obamacare. You know, big deal about Obamacare right now. Everyone's getting the letter from the health insurance thing. I got the health insurance letter from Blue Cross. They said, hey man, you're not going to have insurance after whatever date. You're doomed. And here's how to get the new policy and all that kind of stuff. I would happily pay somebody $5 grand if they would just deal with that so I don't have to sit on hold with the insurance agency and actually handle paperwork. So never underestimate the appeal of being able to eliminate hassle and inconvenience from somebody as well as a means of profit maximization.
It's the ultimate speed and automation. Like if you're doing it for them and you're faster than them, it's zero work and it's getting done faster. I mean that, yeah, done for you. You're right, and you also get the benefit of that. Oftentimes, it brings in those slack adjusters because with done for you, you can charge really high rates, appropriately high rates, I would say.
Yeah.
And so that is and it can happen tomorrow. Like you can bundle that with just about any product tomorrow if you're just willing to invest a little bit of your time.
And then there's the convenience. Never underestimate what people will pay for convenience. I'll give you another example of this. So, as you know, John Reese, dear friend of mine, dear friend of yours, he lives down the road from me, and we see him a lot. And we were bemoaning what a hassle it is to have to go to Whole Foods or Vons or wherever and buy like sundries, like toilet paper and all of that kind of crap. But we didn't want to go to Costco and have to deal with a gazillion people at Costco. And he was like, dude, you should just go to Amazon and buy all that stuff on Amazon. So we did, and I sent you this morning. We Natalia started buying our Charmin and everything on Amazon. So we're paying, I think the good Lord, we've bought 59. I pulled it up now as I'm telling you this. We've bought $59 worth of toilet paper. We do have a big family. And we eat a lot of fiber apparently in our home. We bought $59 worth of toilet paper. And I think we're paying 10% of that over in shipping just to ship the toilet paper and such to the house, so we don't have to go and fill up the damn cart and deal with people and all of that kind of stuff. So even if you're like, oh, I don't want to add another product, just figure out a way to make whatever you have more convenient. Will everybody buy it? No, but some will, and that's more money for you.
Yep. And I think and there's always a segment of your market that will gladly pay more for that. So don't forget that. Even if this is hard for the cheap people out there, like there's a lot of you guys out there. God bless you. I mean, you're cheap is wrong, frugal, right? It's hard for the frugal among us. Like our partner Perry, he's like Kentucky. We call it Kentucky poor boy syndrome. Perry's quite frugal with most things, and so it's hard for him to imagine that people would pay so much for certain things. But then you got guys like Frank who, yeah, he's different in that sense.
I'm less frugal. By the way, the vendor from Amazon, it says the vendor's name is Iceman's Thunder,
which in and of itself is worth 10%.
It's the greatest business name ever. So if there's some company out there called Iceman's Thunder that is shipping us a very large quantity of toilet paper right now.
Okay, everybody, so you need to go to Amazon, find Iceman's Thunder, and we need to single-handedly, as a result of this thing, like explode this guy's business for having the greatest business name ever.
My man.
Let's make this happen. Let's make this happen for Mr. Iceman's Thunder. All right, are we ready to roll? We're almost done with this, actually.
Yeah, as we say in the rap circles, of which you and I are both members of the professional hip-hop community, let us become now jiggy with it.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. All right. So the fifth and final aspect of this formula, this blueprint, is the return path. And when we're talking about the return path, we're really talking about increasing buyer frequency. So with the lead magnet, it's about getting more leads. With the tripwire and the core offer, it's about maximizing the total number of customers we have. With the profit maximizer, it's about maximizing and optimizing what each customer is worth, and it kind of in the immediate. And now with the return path, it's about getting these same customers to come back and buy from us again and again and again. Sort of, if you think about Jay Abraham's famous, there's only 3 ways to grow a business: get more customers, get the customers you have to spend more, and get the customers you have to come back more frequently. That's why these 5 things touches on every single one of these. And there's 4 ways to increase buyer frequency: constant strategic communication, automated follow-up, banner retargeting, and then custom audience marketing. There's more that we wind up deploying, but these are the only 4 we really have time to talk about. These are the biggies. So constant communication, this is a simple one, guys. You should be collecting email addresses, and then you should be communicating with the email addresses you have. Send them content, but do it strategically, right? Don't just smatter stuff at them every now and then. Think through it. Like, produce campaigns and think through all that. And Frank is a master at this. That's why I love when it comes to this stuff. This is really where he kind of deploys his respective bag of tricks. And anybody who's been through Mass Control or Mass Control Promos, which is an amazing, amazing training, has seen what a lot of the tools that he brings to the table. But that's a biggie. I mean, just communicate on a regular basis with your customers and with your prospects. I can't tell you how many clients we've worked with that when we go in, they have never mailed their email list. And the reason that they have never mailed their email list is they're afraid if they mail their email list that they will unsubscribe. It doesn't make any sense. But I can't tell you how many clients and partners we've had that have said those exact words. And it's like they say it and they hear themselves say it. You ever like thought something in your head and then when you said it and you heard yourself say it, it sounded way stupider than when you thought it in your head? That's kind of what happens. So if we can get them to talk through it, it's like, so you don't want to mail them because if you mail them and they unsubscribe, you won't be able to mail them? I mean, it's just idiotic. So don't do that. The other biggie is automated follow-up. When we talk about automating follow-up, again, this is pretty simple, basic stuff for those of us who have been around digital marketing for any length of time. We're talking about autoresponders, which autoresponders to most businesses are freaking magical, right? It's like, ooh, there's emails. You can send emails out into the future. I don't understand this crazy thing, right? We get and we understand this, but it doesn't have to be that complicated. This is a product that it's on how to stop biting your nails, which is a big thing. And again, I gotta give credit, and while simultaneously making fun of our partner Perry. Perry is a nail biter. It's disgusting, and Perry opted in for this product and didn't buy it. And he was telling me, he was going through, he's like, man, this is the weirdest thing. He said, every single week I get the exact same email from this company. The subject line is, still biting your nails? Question mark. And it's just if the answer is yes and you're still biting your nails, we still got this product over here that you ought to check out. It'll keep you from biting those nails. And every single week, I don't know how long this autoresponder went on, but every single week they dropped the exact same email to Perry. Still biting your nails? Still biting your nails? So, until one day, the moment that he received that email, he was in fact biting his nails and he went ahead and bought the product. So it doesn't even have to be this like complex, thought out thing. I mean, oftentimes it's better than that, but simple follow-up like that is better than nothing. All right, so banner retargeting, if you don't know what it is, it's simply the process through which when a visitor comes to your website, a tracking pixel is placed on their browser, and there's nothing weird about this, no shenanigans. It's just a tracking pixel. The same thing that Google and Facebook and everything else uses to kind of just track stuff. And what happens when this retargeting pixel's on there is now when this person leaves your site, because this pixel says who it is, like your ad will start to show to them. So if you've ever gone to a website and all of a sudden you find their advertisements popping up all over the place, that's what's causing that. And it's really great because you can go to people who are who came and maybe they bought a tripwire but they didn't buy the core offer, and you can put up banner ads that only reference that core offer. You can do things to put them back into the funnel, back in the cycle. It's a really great marketing tool that we have in our arsenal for getting people to come back again and again and again. And a similar concept to that is Facebook custom audience. You can right now inside of Facebook upload your list of subscribers, upload your buyers into Facebook and advertise just to them, show ads just to them. And we had a client of ours, a buddy of ours, do this. He has a skincare product, and he was launching a new product in this line. I think it was an acne product, actually. So he had all their other stuff was like moisturizer, stuff like that, and they were launching an acne product to their list, and they had a list of 36,000 buyers. Okay, a list of 36,000 buyers. So they were launching this new skincare product, and they ran a Facebook custom audience to half the list. So they split the list in half, just did an even, like, nth name thing. It wasn't like the old buyers got on one list and the new one got on a different one. It was just a total random sampling. Half the list they uploaded into Facebook and advertised that we're coming out with a new product. We're coming out with a new product. That was it. It was nothing major. It was just pre-launch. They just pre-launch branded this new product before it went live. To the half of the list that didn't get the ads, the 18,000 people that were not uploaded to Facebook, they generated just a little over $2,500 in sales. To the preseason leads, they generated $8,839 in sales. That was the power of utilizing Facebook in this strategy to brand a product to get them to come back again and again and again. So there was a sales increase of $6,276, and the Facebook ad only cost $238.13 to run that ad because it's such a targeted ad to such a targeted list. Now, had he done this to the entire list, like he was cool enough to do a real split test so we could get a sense of this. Had he done to the entire list, he would have made an extra $12,000. Not too shabby. Again, that's the power of having a return path. So return path is not just about email. There's a number of other mechanisms you can use. We're not even talking about the phone and the different strategies like that. Direct mail. There's a number of return path strategies. We just don't have time to go into them all. But so I think you have a sense now when you go back to this, kind of crummy, hand-drawn mechanism about how this works. Hopefully it has new meaning for you. You got the lead magnet, which is that broad funnel that brings people in, the tripwire, which is kind of the spark plug that initiates it, the core offer, which really is, that's the engine, that's the machine that makes your business run. And then you got the profit maximizer, which is kind of like the nitrous. And for the people that come out, and they come out at any place, they go into your return path, they get dumped back into the top, get dumped back into different parts of the process. It really is powerful. When we're working with clients or when we're going into a business, we actually, build out one of these processes and we fill it in. We say, what are the different things going to be? And we plan all this out and we architect it out ahead of time. Even if the products don't yet exist, we still go ahead and we architect them out, and then we build one of these cool flow charts that show, here's how everybody's going to be moving through the funnel. And this looks, I guess, this looks a little bit complicated. And if it looks hard, if it sounds hard, if it sounds a little complicated, it is a little bit, but it's worth it. Okay. It's absolutely worth doing this. Your competitors aren't doing it. If you're somebody who would like us to help you through that process, we would like to do that. We've been very transparent about the fact that we have a consulting practice where we are doing this for folks. And if you have a business that's got some cool stuff going on, then like to chat and learn more about what you're doing and find out if it'd be a good fit and if it would make sense for us to work together. If you go to digitalmarketer.com/apply, you can see more information and actually apply. Frank, do you want to talk about this process at all?
I will, yeah. So first of all, you need to understand that you are not going to be speaking with some sketchy dude on a sales floor in rural Utah. Not that there's anything wrong with Utah, but that's kind of the old person on the phone can strike fear in the hearts of marketing folks that we're used to, because there's been so many of those little call centers. We actually only have 2 people in our entire company. They are actual salaried employees who do help run divisions of this organization. There are only 2 of them who are qualified to speak with you about this and help you. This is in no way a sales pitch in disguise. What happens is you get on the phone, we find out a little bit about your business before you get on the phone. We come up with some good solutions that we think are going to be able to be of use to you and of benefit to you, and we sort of walk you through various scenarios of things you could do to make stuff work better. Essentially, how you can apply these 5 steps specifically to your business. And if you like it, that's great, and you can either say, okay, cool, I have a good plan, I'm going to do this on my own. Or if you want us to do it for you, you can say, hey, we'd like your team to do it for us, and we can talk about that. I'll go ahead and be upfront and transparent with you. The cost to have us actually build a complete system like this. In fact, Ryan, if you want to, if you can give me the screen, I can show a flow chart, a process map of a real system they can actually look at right now.
Let me see
here.
If I can.
On me? Do you see the little graphic flowing around?
I do indeed.
Okay, cool. How about there? All right, so this is kind of the thing that we help build. As you can see, we sort of process every single thing out for you. And if you want us to get this all built for you, so between $15,000 and $20,000, depending on complexity. Now, you need to know, again, this is absolutely not a sales pitch in disguise. It is a real valued thing, regardless of whether or not you want us to build it for you. There is another thing I want you to be aware of, and that is we cannot help everybody. So I'm not going to extend the offer to this conversation to just anyone in the world in order for us to set aside time for our staff of which we only have 2 qualified people to do this, and pay them to be talking to you, you need to meet some basic criteria. And it's pretty simple and friendly. So thing number 1, you need to be selling stuff. You need to have an actual business in place. That's ideal, right? It's just a lot easier for us to help develop a plan for an existing business than one that doesn't quite yet exist. A lot easier to improve something that exists than something that doesn't exist, right? Thing number 2 is what you're selling needs to be okay. So we're not going to work with or help anyone who's selling anything sketchy. I'm talking about the get-rich-quick type of stuff. I'm talking about any sort of adult-related stuff, anything that's not compliant with regulatory stuff. We just don't want to have anything to do with it. And the final thing is, it would be helpful if you were open to following directions. Otherwise, what's the point of us showing you all this cool stuff if you don't want to implement it, right? So if that sounds cool, that's really essentially our only criteria there. If that sounds cool, we'd love to help you out. We will ask for a deposit. It is a deposit of a whopping $100. I'll tell you now, that is deliberately there just to keep people away. There are a lot of people on today's boot camp, and if we didn't have that, I think we'd get a lot of people applying that weren't really serious, and we'd have to either turn them away or we would waste a lot of our mutual time. So the $100 deposit is designed specifically to get time vampires to not respond. It is also 100% refundable. So as soon as you hang up from the conversation, you can have the $100 back. We don't really care about it. It's just to make sure you're actually for real and you show up and everything. In fact, we'll take it one step further. If you find that your conversation with our team was a waste of your time, if you let us know, we will give you double the $100 deposit back. So we'll actually send you $200. So at the worst case scenario, you'll get paid $100 extra to just have a conversation with some cool marketing people for about 45 minutes or an hour or so. Best case scenario is you get this killer plan, implement it, and your business grows. So it's a pretty sweet deal. So if you want one of these fancy pants looking funnels built, custom specifically to your business, and you want to explore how you can apply what we've talked about today to your enterprise specifically and have it all tailor-made, just go to digitalmarketer.com/apply. And we'll get you scheduled as soon as we can. Now, please understand, this is real. There are only 2 people in the entire organization that we trust to help you with this. And we are not even remotely interested in hiring a bunch of salespeople and trying to churn stuff out. That's not our style. So with that said, clearly, this is a first-come, first-served first-come, first-served kind of deal. After you leave your deposit, we'll just ask you a few questions, nothing weird. What kind of business are you in? What do you sell? What do you need help with the most? And what your websites are, and we get all that stuff so we can check it out before we talk and have a good idea of how to help you before we even get you on the phone. So going over there now and apply if you want to. If you don't, no big deal, no pressure. And what do you say we take a 5-minute break, man, and then we get back to cracking?
Yeah, let's do that. I'm going to take...
take the screen back? You going to take back the streets?
You know what? Yeah, I am going to take it back because I went through a lot of trouble to find this fancy pants timer, and
I think you like the noise. I think you're doing this because you like the noise.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so what we're gonna do, guys, we are going to take a 5-minute break, and that is going to start right about now. So we're gonna take a 5-minute break, and when we get back, Frank is going to be on. He's going to be talking about, what are you going to be talking about, Frank? The business of consulting?
Well, as promised, one of us read the copy I spent so much time writing.
I'm going to pause while we're doing this so that everybody can get their full pee break in.
Oh, okay, that's great because hey, you never know how much time it's going to take, and what we do on our Black Friday is certainly our business, especially in the privacy of our own homes.
Absolutely.
I'm going to talk about how we have been generating clients to our consulting firm and how to take this type of stuff that we talked about, and if you have a consulting practice or are interested in doing that, sort of how to grow that type of thing. So I'm going to be sharing some the stuff that's happened with our business in the past couple of weeks. Mine's probably a little quicker. I might only be an hour or so, and I'll walk you through some very simple strategies to get clients, and you really get more money if you so choose to apply what we're talking about.
All right, so then in that case, I'm going to restart the timers. Everybody, you can commence with your break, grab some water, and we'll be back in 4 minutes and 39 seconds for the amazing, the wonderful, the powerful Frank Kern. So don't freak out if there is silence. The silence is there to encourage you to pee. Um, although I kind of feel bad about just there being total silence. So we should just talk about nothing for 4 minutes and 18 seconds. What do you say, Frank?
I think that'd be delightful. Let's gossip about other people.
Yeah, and pretend like nobody's listening.
Competitors. Yeah.
Do you have actually, you know what we could do? We could answer certain questions that people might have about the because I know, like, and by the way, guys, we're doing our best. We got you know, we're trying to respond to questions. We got people on our team that are trying to respond to questions. This is a holiday, so I know it is tough to ask our team members to work. So we're obviously limited staff. So I apologize that we can't get to everybody's question. But you know, if you do have specific questions about the you know, about the program, stuff like that, we'll do our best to respond to those as well. Do you know of any like common questions that people would have, Frank? Because there's stuff coming in that's more than I can even read right now.
Yeah, there's a good question actually, which is, can you, and this is kind of an advanced question, it's can you apply profit maximizers to both the tripwire and the core offer?
Oh.
How about that? I was hoping for something pretty easy, like what is your favorite color?
What is your favorite color? So in terms of applying a profit maximizer, how would you answer that question?
I would say, hell yeah, you should apply a profit maximizer to both tripwire and core offer.
Yeah,
and there was another question, which was, because someone was paying attention to that little thing I had on the screen. They said, hey, look, you saw that you had alternate tripwire and alternate core offers, and what was all that about? So I'll go ahead and explain to that. The only way in this formula that we will let somebody see the core offer after opting in is if they have taken a tripwire. So we have two options, right? Option number one is to email them in the return path to take the tripwire 9 million times, which there are strategies for doing that, but there's only so much you can do, you know? So the next phase is to have an alternate tripwire. So let's say for the preparation niche, the preppers, there was that one tripwire about how to drink your own pee.
Yeah.
Nothing weird about that at all.
Nothing weird about that. It's a judgment. It's a judgment-free zone.
Judgment-free. What you do in your time is your business. You know, we've all been there, right? So we could have another tripwire. If they don't drink that for whatever reason, we could have another tripwire, like how to can your own vegetables, how to do container gardening, how to do vertical gardening, how to create, you know, hunting supplies out of sticks and stones or what have you, and just come up with a multitude of little tripwire products to keep presenting to them until they take one, and then they can finally move to the core offer. And the same thing for an alternate core offer. If they never take the core offer, we certainly don't stop. We just present them with a different core offer, or a different version, or even a different angle of approach. So that was a good question there. I should have thought that by showing that little process map there, people might have additional questions, but we're happy to answer because we're.
And there actually becomes a time, we call it the mattress sales model, where if they didn't take your tripwire, some people just want to buy expensive stuff. So you actually say, okay, you know, you didn't want to go up in the funnel, so I'm going to now make you the highest price thing. You just kind of go for broke. And that's what they do. If you've ever bought a mattress, you know, they have you lay on the most expensive, comfortable mattress in the world, because it helps with the anchoring of a higher price point. So there's strategies around that as well in terms of the sequence. So you want to play with that a little bit in the return path.
And then worst case scenario, you have the classic sale where you say, boss man's out of town. We've gone crazy.
Exactly. You start chainsawing stuff. It's weird.
Yeah, and that always works. You know, medical supply, cosmetic surgeons, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Just, you know, if you're taking notes, write this down. Boss man's out of town, ... we've gone crazy. And then there you go.
In brackets, start chainsawing stuff.
Exactly.
It's more of an action.
Up high prices.
All right. Hope you're almost done, because time is up. There you have it.
Where's the noise?
I thought that was going to be so much louder.
I didn't even hear it.
That was so disappointing.
That was just a disappointment. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, you're past the refund period. Too bad.
For those of you who stuck on to hear the enormously, insanely loud stopwatch, you are disappointed, and I am sorry.
Yeah, that is,
With that, Frank,
the dog barking somewhere.
I remember it being louder. I blame myself. All right. All right, Frank. So let's send it over to you as presenter. We'll talk about all this crazy consulting stuff. And man, I'm glad. I know you're like holiday crud or something like that. I've just got the I've been talking for way too long crud.
Yeah,
that was a lot of. It was really long. Sorry that was long, guys. But I hope y'all got a lot of value from it. I know that's some cool stuff.
I know my parts were fantastic.
Yes. Yes.
They were hot diggity dang good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, man. So as promised in the sales copy, which I think I read, no one else read. As promised in the sales copy, here is a unicorn and a pony. So we have, as you know, let's see here. Hang on a sec, y'all. I've got my GoToWebinar control panels. All right. I don't think
we can't see that. Yeah.
It was messing me up though. Oh damn, it's still messing me up. I was on the wrong screen. Anyway. Trained professionals, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. Okay. So as I think you may know, we've got us one of them consulting and service businesses together. And we started this thing in October, end of October, on the 22nd, I think was our first day. And we're up to around 200 grand a week. Now, in full disclosure, that was our biggest week. Let's see, this week was a little slow because unfortunately we had a death in our team family. So that is actually quite serious. And the week before that we were at like 160 or something. And it looks like we're on pace to actually break 200 next week. So all in all, around 200 bucks a week. And we, like I said, we just started this thing on October 22nd. So it's rolling along pretty good. And first of all, I'll kind of define what the business is. So when you say consulting, people are like, ooh, dude, what's all this about? Well, here's what I mean by it. According to the dictionary, it's when one person provides professional or expert advice to another. That's it. That's the Webster's dictionary. Therefore, it must be true. The thing about consulting is there's a lot of myths about it. Most of the time, people think it's just a bunch of dudes in suits sitting in meetings all day and working with huge corporations. That can be true. I've been known to wear a suit. And we have worked with a couple corporations that surely they're fairly large physically. There's that sports marketing company, and that football guy's very big. So
yes, there's that other fitness company that's been known to sell a couple products on the TVs too.
Yeah, and there's some physically large people involved in that. Another one is that you know when I think of consulting, I think those Getty stock photo images of the people in the glass room. In the glass conference room, writing on the wall, in the marker. That's what it always conjures up in my mind. And you also think you got to go to some special school to be a consultant. Neither one of those are actually true myths. They're both just kind of in our mind. So aside from what we do, the process I'm going to share with you could be applied to a lot of different industries if you chose to, and you may be already doing so. Obviously, there's things like productivity consultant. If you Google that, last time I did, 27 million results. There's sales consultant, clearly. And we do some of that as well, and we've hired some of those as well. There's dating consultant. That's real. If you Google dating consultant, for me, the first page, there was this newspaper article about a dude who was an actual dating consultant, and I think he was making like 100 grand a year or something. No kidding. I actually Googled raw food consultant just to see if even something as fringe as that had consultants in it, and it did. And you got to wonder what they talk about. How could you really do that much consulting in that particular field? What are you going to say?
I like these kinds of carrots.
Yes. How about you don't cook it? Right. Okay. I won't. Thank you very much. Here's your money. That's a good one. So there's all kinds of consulting. I mean, dude, it's like every imaginable situation. You could probably Google it and put advice or coaching or consulting and find people doing it. So it's a big deal. In fact, the consulting industry as a whole, collectively, earns $1 billion a year. $1 billion. That's a lot of money, and it's predicted to grow by 83% by the year 2018. That is according to the U.S. Bureau of Statistics and stuff. Actually, I think it's the Bureau of, dang it,
Isn't it
occupational.
like statistics and labor or something?
Yes, thank you. I can't believe I blanked on that thing. It's a real stat. It's a U.S. Bureau of Statistics and Labor.
That's
So
a real
it's
stat. Unlike most of the ones you will see for the rest of this
unlike the
presentation.
earlier one, unlike this one, I made that one up. This one's real. It's actually the previous one is correct. I think I might have been a typo. It might be $100 billion.
I think so.
It's $100 billion a year industry. That's like Forbes magazine. Dude, it's Black Friday. Come on. I'm still hopped up on turkey.
I'm hopped up on tryptophan.
I am. I injected some directly into my enormous stomach. So here's the thing. It can be a very profitable business. The reason why is because if you do it right, your overhead is low and your fixed costs can be very, very low. Because essentially you're either giving advice or performing a service. And we have found, and especially with our project that we're working on together, a lot of you guys know I've been in the consulting business for a long time. And so this is sort of relevant to not only my original business, but what we're doing now, sort of helping people with the process we just walked you through earlier. The reason that we're having such great luck with this whole thing is because of where consulting and service is on something that I call the ladder of desire, all right? So you always got to have these weird analogies, right? So there's basically 3 different types of services sold in the info world. So I'm going to assume most people listening right now are either familiar with information marketing or actually do that. So all 3 of these things represent a rung on the ladder of desire. So we'll start with the least desirable thing that you can offer people, which is awesome because this is the most commonly offered, right? So rung number 1, the least desirable thing, is just read the manual. Right, so it's kind of like if you wanted to figure out how to record The Simpsons 2 weeks from now on Sunday, and you don't know how to operate your DVR because nobody does, because who the hell wants to read the manual, right? That's kind of like your buddy saying, "Oh yeah, dude, I'll help you with that. Here's the manual. Go ahead." Right? That's like nobody wants that. That's why no one knows how to operate their DVR or VCR if anyone still has one of those things. That's why I've got to go and call the damn guy to install the Apple TV into my Crestron system. Surely I could look it up on the internet and figure it out, but I'm going to pay this dude a couple grand so I don't have to mess with it, right? So the least desirable thing is just read the manual. So a rung up from that is show me how to do it. So if we go back to that DVR situation, so you're in the living room, you're like, dude, I want to set it to record The Simpsons next Sunday. This is where your buddy would be like, okay, dude, here, we'll pick up the controller and now click the red button in the middle. Yeah, okay, cool. So that's the home screen button. Now from there, I want you to go to search. So type in The Simpsons. Okay, what day did you want to do it on Sunday? Okay, so scroll down to Sunday. What time? I'll click that one and then click record. You see how that's a lot different. That's your guy actually doing it with you, kind of walking you through how to do it, showing you how to do it right there. In the top rung, rung 3 is sort of the mother of all offers. That is do it for me, right? So in many cases, that's the most desirable thing. I mean, look, what would you rather do? Figure out how to do all that crap or just have someone program your DVR for you? That's why I'm having the guy come out, and he's probably going to just plug it into some USB port somewhere and then sit around in the server room reading Archie comic books for an hour and pretend to be exasperated when he comes out and bill me $2 grand, right? But whatever, better him than me. So do it for me is the easiest thing ever to sell in most cases, right? Show me how, second easiest. Just read the manual, not so easy, all right? So here's the thing. In our practice, the thing Ryan and I have together with our delightful, lovely, talented, wildly attractive partner, Roland Frazier, in our company, we operate on both rungs. So thing number 1 is we advise our clients on how to create the assets needed to deploy all the stuff Ryan showed you. So we help them create that lead magnet. We don't write it for them, but we say, okay, well, we kind of coach them. We draw it out of them, so to speak. And we do the same thing with, all right, dude, you might want to tweak this offer. Well, maybe we should have this guarantee strategy here. And we're not doing it for them. We're doing it with them. We're saying, like, press the red button and sort of directing them metaphorically, right? And then the top rung, we actually do stuff for them. So we then, once they get all those assets sort of ready and in place, then we architect everything on how it should fit together. We sort of move the pieces of the puzzle around and have the ultimate blueprint. In fact, we actually create a build sheet for them, which is like a spec sheet, which then goes to a development team and a tech team, and the tech team actually builds all that crap for them. So they take their sales letter that might look crappy, it might be put in a Google document, and the tech team makes it all beautiful and puts it on a web page. ties everything together and all that kind of stuff, right? So we're doing both rungs there. And because of that, we're hitting the top tiers of the most desired stuff. So one big, huge thing in winning the sale is to sell what they want the most. And I know that's kind of like a no-brainer, but very few people do it. They think, oh, no, I'm going to sell a course on how to do it or an ebook or something on how to do it, and they'll buy it. But if you go that extra mile, and I live in rung 2 and 3, you can charge a lot more, and it's easier to make the sale. And in fact, it's a totally different marketing process, a lot friendlier than what you're used to. And I'll show you, as a matter of fact. I'll start showing you right now. How do you like them apples? So to get clients for this kind of thing is a lot different than what you do. It's dramatically different than the typical internet marketing stuff. So you remember Ryan talking about achieving emancipation from the dependence on affiliates and joint venture partners. That was all done by design, because just like you, we are also very, very fed up with and somewhat disgusted by typical internet marketing style stuff, right? So the way this process works is different. In fact, it is very process driven. It's heavily automated, not too complicated, but there's just a set rote procedural process that is followed, and everything therefore kind of comes in place. So it's relatively predictable in that. It is less complicated, less complex than traditional sales funnel. So the info funnels can be extremely complicated. This funnel is not as complicated, especially in the outset, and this one depends heavily on human interaction. It can be you personally doing it, which I did for years, or it can be a couple people on your team, which is how our company works, right? In terms of making the sale, we don't actually do it. We do the fulfillment personally in many cases, but the sales, not so much, right? So it's a lot different. So I'm going to walk you through the process, but before I do, I just want to sort of get an objective. So I'm a real big fan of just sort of planning things. So I'd like to go ahead and set some hypothetical goals. If you don't mind, just write down how much you'd like to earn over the next 12 months by providing consulting or services, either advice business or done-for-you business or a hybrid, right? So write down the total number and divide it by 12. So you see my example down here. If you wanted to make 250 grand, you divide that by 12. That's $20,833 a month in sales that you would need to make. And again, this is not a typical result, or this is not an income claim. I'm not saying you're going to make that, nor am I saying that should be your goal. I'm just kind of trying to give you some hypothetical situations, so something we can work backwards from. Does that make sense? Always want to reverse engineer back from where we want to be. We do that with our clients a lot, by the way, as well. So let's just say you chose $250,000, and your goal is your goal. It doesn't matter. Whatever you want it to be is totally fine, right? So how many clients do you need to generate $250,000 smackers? Well, obviously, that's going to depend on your pricing structure. So our primary service, the done for you and the architecture and the coaching and then the prodding and the poking and the flogging and all of that kind of stuff that ends up being necessary to get the perfect messages out, that costs between 15 and 20 grand, depending on how complex and difficult it is, right? So with that said, for our business to make $250,000, we need between 13 to 17 clients. So that's one big thing as to why we're able to sell $200,000 a week, which is actually short of what our long-term goals are, by the way. We don't need to make that many sales. When you do this type of business, you don't need to make that many sales to make big, big gross volume numbers. So if you sort of think about, okay, just pull a number out of the air, what would you charge if you were offering consulting monthly or per project? If you sort of just get it, just any rough idea, I guess, doesn't matter. Divide that monthly goal by that sale price, and you'll know how many sales you need to make per month. So in our case, we need 13 to 17 clients ever to make $250,000 for the year. If we wanted to make, we just wanted to do that annually, that would be, gosh, about 1.3 clients a month. That's all it would take, right? So it's a pretty simple business, and a lot of it depends on getting in front of the right people, right? So remember, I told you all the traditional stuff you're used to doesn't really work that well when it comes to getting clients in terms of the hypey approach. I'll go into more detail on that in a minute, but one of the big things, the big secrets here, is to get in front of the right people. So there's kind of a certain process to how you do it. The first thing you need to do is decide what segment of your market will benefit the most from working with you. And a lot of people sort of beat themselves up in the quest to find the answer to that question. I'll kind of give you a shortcut to it. The segment that you get the most and the fastest results for are likely going to be the ones who are going to pay you the most money with the least resistance. And as an example, this is what, if we ever see a situation like this, we just get very, very excited. A dream client for us is someone who's got a successful business, like, you know, a couple $100,000 or a couple $1 million per year, and their marketing is bad. If we see that, we're like, oh my God, this is going to be the best client ever. Because we don't have to really do a lot. You know, I mean, if their marketing is already bad and we deploy the system that we've got here that we just walked you through, it's usually we just crush it for these guys, and they love us, and they'll pay us out the wazoo and refer us like crazy and all of that kind of stuff. It's fantastic. Interestingly enough, every client we ever find, even famous guys that you probably know that have been my private clients in the past, none of them ever have anything like what we just walked you through. Like absolutely none of them. So very, very few businesses in the world have a process like what you just learned, which is really good. So for us, we want successful businesses with bad marketing. You might have a similar situation, right? But you need to identify who your lowest hanging fruits are. And then you also want to go for people with money. Now this is interesting. Here's a way to increase revenue just by shifting your target. I learned this from reading a Dan Kennedy newsletter, so check it out. First of all, there's actually a National Floral Marketing Institute, which really gives credence to the whole fact that there are just tons of sub-niches out there that we could go and do marketing with that make a lot of money, right? So if you're in the marketing world and you want to sell marketing stuff, you're not limited to just the internet marketing crowd, right? There's the National Floral Marketing Institute that would probably think the stuff we're talking about is magic. But anyway, they issue these reports every year on like state of the industry and all that. And they found that men under 35 spend $30 on flowers for Valentine's Day, while men between the ages of 45 and 60 spend 350% more. Here's what's interesting. No difference in the flowers, right? Same flowers, same roses. You're just taking the same offer and taking it out from being in front of the under 35 dudes and sticking it in front of the over 45 guys, and boom, 350% increase in sales volume just from changing who you're presenting the offer to, right? So it's really, really important to understand who is most likely to give you the most money. So it's benefit the most. That's who you're really looking for. So let's talk about how to get these people, right? How to get clients. The model we've got here, incredibly easy to operate and maintain compared to traditional info marketing, right? We don't need a lot of clients, and we don't have to make a lot of sales in order to hit high volume, right? I mean, you just saw $250,000. It's like at maximum with our pricing, 17 clients. Okay, you know, not that hard, right? It's a big, big difference in selling them. So if you demonstrate value during the process I'm about to show you, it's relatively easy to sell to these people, especially if you're sticking it in front of the right people. However, like I done said, this is a very different process than what you're used to. You're probably used to seeing normal internet marketing promos like product launches and affiliate promotions and the usual hypey stuff. Almost everything you've ever seen is practically guaranteed to not work if you try it with high-end consulting and service offers. So I hope I've gotten you significantly freaked out now. Let me unfreak you out a little bit. So what you're used to seeing is something that I call the significance model. This term was coined by a friend of mine named Kevin Nations, by the way. And he really hit the nail on the head with this. What most people do in our space, in the online education / internet marketing space, is they have quite kind of a, you could almost look at this as a formula that they use. It begins with step number 1. They say, I'm awesome, right? And then they say, look at all my awesome stuff. So if you go back and look at product launches, it's always like, hey, look here, here's why I'm awesome. Here's all my cars and my Lamborghini, and here's my Ed Hardy collection of Lamborghinis covered in Ed Hardy collections and all this kind of stuff. And then what happens
Ed Hardy's
next
a nice touch, by the way.
is you've got to have the Ed Hardy or the Affliction, you know, in the Lamborghini. And you can't have the good one. You have to have the one where the doors open normal. You know, it's always the best. It's like, let me get a neon green one with the doors that open regular and wear head-to-toe Ed Hardy and then do an internet marketing launch. You know, it's awesome. I love it. So that's oh, man, I've probably offended somebody, but that's okay. Hey, it's Black Friday, man. Come on. So anyway, the next step in line here, you probably already see this coming. After they say, I'm awesome, and then they say, look at all my awesome stuff, what do they say next? Look at how awesome these other people say I am. right? And this is where all the joint venture partners go, this is unbelievable, this is amazing, this guy's the most awesome person in the world, and the reason you know he's awesome is because he's going to pay me a lot of money if you buy his stuff through my link, right? And then the next part of the process is, hey, if you want to be awesome like me, then you need to give me some money, right? That's usually the next one. And then comes the obligatory scarcity, right? If you don't give me money immediately, the terrorists are going to win. I think we should use that in promotion sometime and just see if that works. You know.
And puppies will all be killed.
Yes, the death of puppies will be on your shoulders. How could you? Why do you hate puppies so? You terrible, terrible person. So there is that, you know. So that's usually like what they do. And the fact of the matter is, yeah, this works. It works pretty well, actually, in markets like internet marketing, in markets like, you know, come buy my instant, you know, do nothing and get rich overnight system. So if you're selling unsophisticated stuff to unsophisticated people, that's going to do pretty well. If you're selling to real people, the type of people that like need high-end services and consulting, this will prove to be the single worst approach ever. And the reason why is because, as we say in professional circles, especially professional medical circles, this is douchey. It's super douchey, right? And it doesn't help the client in any way at all. In fact, it's all about you, the marketer, right? And what's funny is if you put marketing that's all about you in front of someone, it's invisible to them because they don't care about you or me or Ryan. They care about them, human nature, right? And it does not instill confidence. And this is a big one. See, the significance model is all about the person selling. It's all about me, 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 me. And it really, they're trying to instill confidence in the viewer and the prospect by saying, look how great I am, and having social proof about how great they are. And in reality, that does very little to instill confidence. But the thing is that this is a real writer downer, and I wish I'd have come up with this. This is a quote I got from a dear friend of mine named Diego Rodriguez, just the nicest guy you're ever going to meet. Brilliant marketing consultant, by the way. He said the amount of money someone is willing to pay you will be in direct proportion to the amount of confidence they have in your ability to get them results, right? And doesn't that make sense, really? So before I go into the proper model, I want you to do something and just sort of keep this near you. So you got to get a blank piece of paper out and draw a circle in the middle, right? And that middle circle, write down what I say about my stuff. Now draw a circle around that one, almost like we're making a bullseye, and in that ring, write what others say about me. And draw another circle now around that one. So you've got like a bullseye now with 3 rings, and on that outer ring, write what I demonstrate about myself. Those are essentially the 3 circles of influence. Everything we do in marketing falls within one of those 3 circles. Right? The least effective is what I say about me. Makes sense, right? More effective than that, exponentially more effective than that, is what others say about me. But the end-all, be-all, Ryan demonstrated it with the guy driving the golf ball through the damn plywood, is what I demonstrate about myself. So the client-centric model, which is what we use to grow this business of ours, and what I'm going to encourage you to test deploying in your company if you choose to do this kind of stuff, is we don't talk about ourselves at all. Why? Well, it's that inner circle. It's the least effective method of influence, right? We don't brag because it's douchey. We don't use the typical internet marketing crap because if you look at it statistically, from a conversion standpoint, it doesn't work at all, really. I mean, if you want to get ugly about it and look at these hypey launches where you got 500 affiliates driving 10 million clicks to an offer to the point that it crashes the server, and then they get 1,000 customers from that, that's the worst math ever. It's terrible. The only reason it's working is because it doesn't cost anything to send 1 billion emails out, right? Well, we like to live in the real world here. You can live in the fake world and get real excited about $1 million launch. You live in the real world and get excited about $30 million a year predictably and consistently. So I like the real world. So we don't use that typical internet marketing crap. Instead, we live in that outer rung of influence. We demonstrate that we can help them by actually helping them, right? Because talk is cheap. We know that. Our types of clients know that. So this causes them, by the way, to pursue us instead of the other way around. I mean, imagine you're on the golf course, you see some guy whack a ball through a piece of freaking plywood. If you're interested in hitting a ball real hard, you're probably going to go up to that dude and say, how the hell did you do that? Well, what are you doing? You're pursuing him. That's what we want to engineer, right? So we have a process, a mechanical process, complete with squares and words and arrows. It looks like this, right? So we start with some traffic. We send it to a lead magnet, right? Opt-in page with compelling offer for lead magnet. Now, where we're a little different is we have something called an irresistible intrigue offer. And this sort of is like the tripwire sequence, right? In our irresistible intrigue offer, we go through a process and then we ask for a deposit. That's the tripwire, just like what you saw a second ago, not a second ago, a couple minutes ago now, in Ryan's section of today's Delightful Bootcamp. Now, the next thing that happens is the prospect qualifies himself to us. Then a process called a collaborative close occurs, and then the client pays and becomes a client or not. Or either they say, okay, well, thanks, and I'll try to do it on my own. Either answer is okay with us, right? But these are essentially our 6 major components. So let's talk about traffic real quick. Big fan of traffic, like it. Lots of it out there, not hard to get, especially with a good offer. 3 places we normally go. Number 1 is Facebook PPC. Excuse me, guys. Number 2 is LinkedIn PPC, because we're dealing with professionals and business owners, and they're easier to reach on LinkedIn. Number 3, another one's direct mail. Real big fan of direct mail. I think this, as I told Dan Kennedy, this direct mail fad is going to be big. You mark my words, right? So let's talk about Facebook for a minute.
I'm sure he appreciated that.
Yeah, he was like, oh, God, Frank, you're a genius. I'm his favorite of all time. So then I'll talk to you about the Facebook ninjutsu here, right? So as you might know, we didn't mention it earlier, but Facebook has just made life incredibly easy for us. You remember how easy Google was in like 2005 for some of you veterans out there before the Google slap and then the Google sodomy and then the Google murder occurred? Like when they would actually let you advertise and take your money and not try to kill you. They don't actually try to kill you, by the way. If any of Google's lawyers are listening, they're a wonderful company. We love them. They're the greatest people in the history of the world. Well, Facebook is like easier than Google was back then. In fact, they've just teamed up with Axicom or Axiom, however you say it, and Datalogics and Epsilon and all these other difficult to pronounce data sharing companies. So you can target people by all this incredibly private information, such as like their financial situation, their job role, what they bought, what kind of car they drive. It's insane how deeply targeted you can get on Facebook now. Here's something under the job role parts, right? So you can, hey, if you want to like be a consultant to financial professionals and teach them how to integrate these 5 processes that we just showed you and put it in their business to generate and close leads, and you just want to focus just on them and advertise only on Facebook, well, dude, there's 821,000 people within Facebook's records who have self-identified or have been identified through these partners as a financial professional. Pretty simple. I mean, it really doesn't get much easier than that. Medical professional, 3 million of them, right? It's ridiculous, and there's tons more categories. I just kind of circled some that were fancy. Here's another way to get even fancier on the Facebook. So everyone's heard of like list rental and all that. Let's say that you wanted to, your field of expertise is working with contractors, and you might have an info product on how to get more sales for contractors, and you might be sort of listening to me now saying, hot damn, maybe I should add some higher value service for these people and charge a lot more and deal with fewer clients and maybe even make a lot more money. Dude, you can go and rent a mailing list of contractors or really just about anything that you want. And you probably know this because you've been in the digital marketer world for a while, but if you go take that rented list and strip out their phone numbers and then roll hard and deep all up in that Facebook custom audience builder, and that's actually the way you do it because that's how they say it in rap music, you can upload just those phone numbers to create a custom audience in Facebook. And what Facebook does, it will say, all right, show me everybody who's got a Facebook account who also has one of these phone numbers. And then you can show your ad just to them, meaning you can show your ad just to the people on the list that you rented. Cost you nothing until they click. Unbelievable, right? I believe as a result of this and other technological breakthroughs that we've had that I don't have time to go over, I think we have never had, ever, even back in the good old Google days, we've never had such an incredible opportunity to get in front of our perfect audience so quickly and easily. So 2014, if you do the stuff we're telling you and sharing with you, and you actually deploy this, whether you use our help or not, man, if you just can be the first to market with this, gangbusters is what it is. Nothing short. So let's talk about generating leads, right? So our process is simple. We generate leads and then we close them. real easy, well, easier said than done, but very simple, not too complicated. So how do we get them? Well, we're going to use the simplest marketing strategy ever. It's just like what we talked about earlier. We create a lead magnet. And like I talked about earlier with the client and friend who's the infomercial guy, big fan of the reports, big fan of the printed material. So far, that's testing higher than any other bribe to get people to opt in. And you've probably been like, dude, really? I mean, people have been saying give away how-to reports forever. Yeah, seriously, that's what I'm telling you to do. Everybody does it for a reason. It's because it works, right? So the question is, what do you give away? Well, we went over this a pretty good bit. So I'll sort of jump through this section for you. First thing you want to do, figure out what their biggest desired result is. Then you want to bang out a quick report listing the steps they can take to move towards that result. And if people get hung up on what to call it and what to make the report about, take a little page from the trashy women's magazines, which of course I read daily.
You take multiple pages from those, don't you?
Yeah, I have lots of them printed on the wall, all over the house for personal use. So if you don't judge me, my exercises are my exercises. So it's no refunds, folks. It's the end. This is the last segment of it, so you're stuck. If you go to Barnes & Noble or whatever and just go and get like Cosmo and Elle and Self and even Oxygen, that's not actually that trashy. And then you go get like Men's Health and Men's Fitness and Best Life and all of those. Just get them and line them up and take a look at the covers. What you'll see is subheads on every single one of them have X ways to Y. It's always a number of things you can do to achieve an incredible results. 5 ways to blast belly fat, whatever, right? 7 steps to an amazing girlfriend. 5 unusual ways to get more referrals. How to see more houses with less work is another one that doesn't have the how to sell more houses, what that was supposed to say. It doesn't have the number in there, but if you don't want to use numbers, if you want to be fancy, you can have the formula, which is how to yay without boo. Sell more houses, that's a typo, it's supposed to be sell. That would be presented to realtors, obviously. How to sell more houses would be yay with less boo. Work would be the boo, right? How to yay without boo. Very, very professional level titling that we've done here. So it's a pretty simple process to get that created. I wouldn't overcomplicate it at this stage. Now it's worth testing, but the key thing is just to get something done, right? So part uno of how the process works in total, and we'll use Facebook as an example. There's probably some validity of if you go out and get 9 million Facebook fans, you can do something with them. Instead of, for me personally, I don't think you should like try to get a bunch of Facebook fans by quoting Martin Luther King or quoting someone else or putting funny pictures of a cat on your Facebook page. I like using Facebook for advertising because the pathway to wealth is to spend money on advertising and have it directly turned into profit. So first thing you do is you place a Facebook ad on here. And here's what it looks like. Very, very simple. You call out to your desired people in the copy, right? Attention headline readers. New body copy reveals offer and benefits. Click here to see an opt-in page. Dude, please remind me to run this as an actual ad, and let's see what happens. You never know.
Done and done.
Yes. What if it's got to work? Holy crap, okay.
It can't not.
How could it not work? That is so stupid, it must work, right? So, here's the structure of one, though. That's why
Pattern interrupt.
Yeah. I don't want you to really write this type of ad. Let us lose the money on testing this one. But that's the structure of it, right? So you call out to them, and then you reveal the body. You say some benefits in the body copy of the ad, and then you tell them to click here, right? So real simple. Like no need to work yourself into a frenzy over this thing. So the next thing we do is we go hog wild crazy, drive them to a super simple opt-in page. This looks strangely like the winning one that was in Ryan's test, right? Where it was just the picture of how to get your book done, and there was a little faint, what'd you call it? Eggshell blue? Robin's egg blue?
Robin's egg blue, yes.
Yeah, super fantastic blue, and there you go. So real simple page, right? And I'll give you some more examples from kind of outside of us. So this is Brendan Burchard's highest converting opt-in page ever, according to him. So free download, there's a picture of the graphic there, which just has got a dude in his hand, weird graphic, and there's some copy, right? Here's an even simpler one. This is by the lovely and talented Dean Jackson. probably the smartest marketer out there and the purveyor and master of something I call friendly marketing. And as you see, it's just like the one Ryan mentioned, right? A little graphic and then the headline, and then there you go. So gone are the days where we just go hog wild trying to make this complicated. Tests have revealed that uncomplicated works better, right? So the question you might have, by the way, is, by gosh, how do you take to making these? Well, I'll give you 3 quick resources. Number 1, leadpages.net. We use them a lot, good service. Another one is unbounce.com. That's a little more complicated to use, but it's more customizable. And the third one is Megaphone app, Megaphone app.com. That is built by the Kajabi Brothers boys band. There's beautiful templates in that one as well. So any of those 3, they all have landing page templates that are basically plug and play. So gone are the days where you have to slave over it and figure stuff out. You can just sort of like drag and drop now. Thank goodness. No software to install, no hard stuff to do, right? So you got to be thinking like, okay, dude, surely it's not this simple. And the answer is you are right. It is not that simple. The thing that makes it work is the way our tripwire is presented. It is presented in the form of an irresistible intrigue offer. So this is all about the offer. Remember, the first thing Ryan talked about when he was talking to us earlier, like 10 hours ago when we first got on this webinar, longest Black Friday boot camp in history, by the way. When we first got on today, he was talking about the offer, how it was all about the offer, right? That was like the big thing. So the offer structure in this example was really, really critical. So I'll kind of go through, I'll list the steps of an irresistible intrigue offer, and then I'll just kind of give you some sample copy of how it goes. So step number 1 is we offer to help them for free. Step number 2 is we explain the benefits of our help. Step number 3 is we explain why we're offering it for free. Step 4 is we eliminate fear of pesky salesperson. Step 5 is we create irresistibility and intrigue through extreme risk elimination and reversal. That's a big deal. Step next is takeaway, and step last is qualify, right? So I'll walk you through all of these now, okay? So step numero 10, offer to help for free. So let's say that I was just giving away the report. I'd advertised the report to realtors that wanted to list their houses, right? And my report was called 6 Ways to Get More Listings in 2 Weeks, right? So they opted in to get that report. Now this is the thank you page they're seeing. So beginning, step number 1, I could say this in a VSL, I could say it in a direct-to-camera video, or I could just write it, right? We write it, by the way. Ours is usually always written. We begin the conversation by saying, would you like me to give you a plan to double your listings every month for free? So that was our entire step 1. We just offered to help for free. No big deal. So now you gotta put yourself in their shoes. They're thinking, well, okay, well, yeah, but why would you do that, right? And why would I want your help? What's in it for me, right? Because how do I know what the hell you're going to do? So in step number 2, we explain the benefits of our help. So here I'll just kind of read it to you. The copy would read something like, I'm happy to help you design a custom marketing plan for your territory, identify your perfect target market of prospective home sellers, and show you how to have them coming to you, asking you to sell their houses for them. This way, you'll be able to get more listings without having to talk to tire kickers or unrealistic people who want to waste your time. Now, I want you to notice something about this little chunk. Who's it about? Them. It's not about me. It's about them. Design a help you marketing plan for your territory. Identify your target market, right? Show you how to have them coming to you, asking you to sell their houses for them. This way, you will be able to get more listings, right? Without people who want to waste your time. So the biggest mistake I see people doing, and almost all marketing, is they make their marketing about themselves. Nobody cares about us, right? They care about themselves. That's why it always has to be about them. But so let's say we put this little chunk in front of someone. What do you think their reaction is going to be? They might be like, well, that sounds pretty good, but why are you doing that? There must be a catch, right? So instead of trying to pull over some sort of shenanigans and hide the catch, we use this crazy theory of being blatantly transparent with our evil intentions. We say something like this: I offered this service because I'm a consultant specializing exclusively and helping luxury real estate agents attract and secure more listings and sales. And there's a good possibility your market has a large pocket of underserved luxury homeowners who would be very responsive to the marketing plan I'll be giving you for free. And if you find the plan I create for you valuable, you might want to become a client. If this is the case, my rates start at $48.60 a month or whatever, right? And then we have the however. So now, what are they thinking? They're thinking, okay, well, I understand what's going on here. Therefore, probably, what do you think they suspect? They suspect that our conversation is in reality going to be some sort of a disguised sales pitch, right? Obviously, because that's what they're used to. So anytime you're writing a marketing piece, anytime you've got an offer, it's very, very profitable to write a list of all their prospective and potential objections prior to writing your offer and then figure out how to address those objections in the offer itself. So if we know that their objection at this stage is going to be, yeah, well, this is probably going to be just a sales pitch in disguise, like the time I won that quote-unquote free vacation to Disney and I had to sit in a timeshare meeting for 16 hours. Well, why don't we go ahead and address it? That's what we do in sales number 4, or in step number 4, rather. Eliminate sales fear. So the copy reads this: with that said, please understand that I am not offering you a sales pitch in disguise. I promise not to pressure you or pester you in any way at all. In fact, if you feel I've wasted even 1 second of your time, and now we move on to the 5th step. And this is the gigantic brass balls step that nobody else really will do. But if you will do it, and you'll learn how to be really, really good and deliver and be able to demonstrate value, this one process alone could make you more money than anything you've ever tested, assuming you're deploying it with the rest of our systems as well, right? And that is irresistibility and intrigue and risk elimination and reversal. So I'll move back here 1 slide. I promise not to pressure you or pester you in any way at all. In fact, if you feel I've wasted even 1 second of your time, let me know, and I'll immediately write you a check for XX dollars to compensate you for your time, right? So now what do you think has happened? The guy's gone from leaning back in his chair, arms crossed, and then he heard that it wasn't a sales pitch in disguise, so he might have uncrossed his arms and gone, all right, but still. And then he hears this, where he say, look, in fact, if you think I wasted your time, I'll pay you. Now he's leaning forward, isn't he? He's like, shit, this is probably pretty good. This is probably really, really good. But maybe there's still some sort of catch. Now, whenever you have someone on the verge like that, sometimes, more often than not, in fact, the deployment of takeaway selling can push them over the edge and cause them to want to do business with you. And that is exactly what we do now in the next step. We use takeaway non-selling. And there's 2 reasons to do this. Number 1, takeaway works, right? When you make it, it's kind of like dangling a string in front of a cat. You put the string in front of them, and you start moving it away, and those little jerks, and the cat starts chasing the dang string. We can't help it. Everyone's brain is like that kitten brain, sort of, right? The other reason is, well, we don't want to talk to just anyone. Why would we want to waste our time? They do need to meet some criteria before we would talk to them. Don't you agree? I mean, your time is the only thing that you can never get more of, so that is the thing we should guard the most closely and the most vigilantly. Don't you agree? So the way we word that is we say, now, but before we go any further, you need to know that I can't help everyone. I can only be of benefit to realtors who are well respected in their markets, willing to advertise, and able to sell the listings that I help them get. Now, the reason I'm doing that is because if they're not well respected in their markets, if they refuse to advertise, and if they can't sell the listings I help them get, they're going to be terrible clients anyway. They probably won't even become clients, so why the hell would I want to talk to them, right? So we're having a double-purposed move right here. Purpose number 1, takeaway selling causes the desirability to go up. Purpose number 2, filters out the fruitcakes, right? So our next step now is to make them qualify themselves to us, right? And the way we do that is we say, here's what I'll do next. Schedule a planning session with me by simply clicking the link below. You'll see a form with a few questions about your business and what you're looking to accomplish. Once I have that information, I'll do some market research for you and set up a good time to go over it with you. Now, what we do in our business is I ask for a deposit of $100. The reason we ask for a deposit of $100 is because we want to diminish response. I would much rather have, instead of 100 guys applying that are kind of random, I'd much rather have just 10 people applying that are for real. So that $100 is our tripwire in this case. Even though it's refundable, we don't care about it. We give it back to them immediately after they hang up. We could care less about the stupid $100. We just want to make sure they're real. It's kind of like our weirdo repellent maneuver, right? And also psychologically, they're kind of already mentally one step into their little journey of becoming a real customer with us. So if you've ever read Cialdini's Influence, you've heard about that commitment and consistency. The way to get to a big yes is a series of little yeses. So that's the very first little yes. Actually, the first little yes was them opting in the first place, right? So that's why we do that $100 deposit. That really is our tripwire, which is pretty ninja, right? So what all of this process does for you is it gives you a targeted group of highly responsive prospects who know what you have to offer and are literally asking you to help them now. I mean, they're actually filling out a questionnaire and applying to talk to you. They wouldn't be doing that if they weren't interested in becoming a client. Plus, like I said, they're applying to talk to you by answering your questions about them, right? So now you have the power, okay? The buyer does not have the power. You have all the perceived power, which is exactly what you want. So before we go further, you need to know that the prospect getting method I showed you is just the most low-tech and simple method you can use. I led with this method because it's something you can implement now to get results fast. We've also got 5 other ways to generate prospects. Now, again, notice that our system, there's 5 components to the system that Ryan just walked you through. So I'm really talking about the quickest bang for your buck here in terms of your time spent on this webinar. There's a lot more stuff you can do to apply the 5 steps that we talked about earlier to this formula. I'm just giving you the quickest, fast strike version, right? So let's talk about converting these prospects now into sales. Our personal approach, here's how we do it, right? So just kind of to recap the structure, they see a Facebook ad, right? Or it can be an email ad. They go to opt-in, right, to get the free report, and then they see the irresistible intrigue offer. This is actually a screenshot of an old one. We have a newer copy now for our personal one, which some of you might have actually seen. It says, would you like me to hand you a $30 million blueprint for free? Same type of thing, right? So what this happens here is they go through the same irresistible intrigue offer, and we've tested different things. We tested getting big deposits of $750, and I say I'll give you $1,500 if you think I've wasted your time. We've never had anyone ask for that type of thing, and we finally said, you know, we don't even need to make them give us $700. It's $100 is fine, right? We don't care. And then of course they fill out some questions after they leave the little deposit, which is refundable, and we ask them simple stuff, right? Like what is your last year's sales volume? What are your sales goals? What's your biggest challenges? What do you got? You know, what are all your moving parts that we can work with? Really, really basic stuff. And we only schedule appointments with them after we've read their answers and checked them out and determined that we can help them. So our team will never speak with someone unless we have a general idea of how we're going to advise them. We look at their questions and we're like, dude, I have no idea how to help this person sell the self-castration kit, you know, because who the hell wants to buy that, right? We're not going to talk to them. We're going to say, hey, man, we're sorry. We're full. We can't help you. And then we'll give them maybe a parting gift or something like that just to keep up the goodwill. So it's really easy.
Yeah, and I think that's what you just said there. I think that's important, and that's not just talk. Like, we actually do that. We actually do turn away a good number of people that aren't a good fit. And when you're running a real consulting practice, you have to. You can't help everybody, and if you try to take everyone, you're gonna do a bad job, and you're gonna get a bad reputation. And it sounds kind of demented, but it sort of feels good to turn business away. So I think it's good not only because it's good business, but it also is good just sort of mentally. Hopefully that makes sense.
It does make sense, and it's a matter of practicality too. There's only so much time in the day, and if you get on the phone, whether it's you or someone on your team gets on the phone and gets with someone they can't help and they don't become a client and there's no benefit to anybody in that conversation, it becomes demoralizing and no one's making money. So you're not turning people away to be uncool. It's like, why would you waste their time and yours if you can't help them? So that's why this process is here, right? So it prevents you from ever being engaged with anyone who is specifically coming and saying, please help me. I would be delighted to talk to you. This is great. Yes, I will jump through hoops to talk to you. And yes, here is proof that I'm worth talking to. So just so you understand, this is like the complete, total opposite of like a phone room kind of thing. I'm not suggesting you do that ever. This is generally and genuinely a consultative, helpful process. In fact, the way you turn them into a customer is a process I call the collaborative close. And I'll walk you through it, and like I said, not to belabor this, these guys have actually asked you to call them, so this isn't any sort of cold calling or telemarketing crap like that. We close your sales on the phone, or if you choose to meet people one-on-one, essentially by not selling. Everything we do is we live in that outer rung. Remember, we drew the 3 circles there. We live in that outer circle. Instead of talking about it, instead of having others talk about it, we demonstrate the value of what we got by actually helping them and offering to help them even more. And there's kind of a scripted structure to follow. Now, we don't use a sales script. We do have a structure that we follow, though, and I call that structure collaborative bridge building. So here's how it works. First thing you do is you get them on the phone, and even in their application, you find out where they want to be, which is, hey, what are your goals, right? What do you want to accomplish? Then you find out where they are now. We get all of that in the application, typically, right? And next thing we do, we clarify all that. When we first talk to them, we're like, okay, I read everything, just want to make sure this is all right and all that kind of stuff. They say, yep, that's exactly right. So now we begin to ask them questions to lead them towards the right steps they need to take. So essentially what we do is we're asking them questions to help them see a bridge that'll take them from where they are to where they want to be. And that bridge is a metaphor. So kind of looks like this, right? In fact, we actually, in our process, I have a little worksheet that if you want one, I can give it to you, and we'll talk about that later, a little worksheet to go through in terms of these collaborative closes, and we draw in little squares. Where are they? And then the other squares where they want to be, and then we have little slots. All right, here's step 1 for them to get there. And we literally ask them questions and consultatively and collaboratively come up with a plan to help them get to where they want to be. So that sounds kind of abstract, so let me walk you through how we do it, the process. So I'm just sort of going to give you an example as if we had somebody on the phone, right? So I might have a person, and this is real common in this business. He's at $1 million, and he says he wants to be at $2 million. So I'll say something like this, or someone on our team will say, okay, I see you're at $1 million and you want to be at $2 million, so how many customers are you getting per month right now, right? And they'll answer. They'll say, well, we're getting 100, right? And then we say, okay, I want to make sure you're getting 100 customers. All right, that's cool. And instead of like telling them here's 10 ways to get 200 customers, we'll just keep asking questions. We'll say, all right, well, do you think there's an opportunity to start selling more products to your existing customer base, now, aka profit maximizer, right? And they'll say, yeah, probably so, because most people would answer yes to that question. We'll say, okay, well, what do you think they'd like to buy the most, right? And they'll say, well, we're selling tires right now, and they'd probably like to buy like a tire shine kit or something, or a flat tire kit. And we say, okay, cool. Then we might say, what do you think would happen if we offered that? And they might say, well, I think that, probably about 10% of them would buy it. And then we might keep digging. Okay, well, what's the average profit margin per sale on that thing? Well, it's $50. All right, so if we, if you're getting 100 people and you got 10% of them are now buying the tire repair kit, and that's an extra $50, that means that's an extra $5,000 per month in your pocket if we added that. Is that right? They'd say yes, right? So we just write this down. And we're not telling them to do anything. Just write it down on our little sheet, making notes on stuff that they could be doing, right? And then we might say, okay, well, what does your current sales process look like? And I'll tell you, it's always horrible. At best, as they opt in, we send them 10 million emails until they buy, right? That's usually the very best one that they've got. Then we might say, okay, well, do you think it would be more effective if we added some one-click upsells to your offer, profit maximizers? Or, do you think we might, what do you think would happen if what happens if someone doesn't buy right away, and therefore we're opening up a return path type of conversation, right? And then we might say, well, what do you think would happen if we ran a 4-day cash machine sale automatically to everyone who hasn't bought within the first 5 weeks of being in your funnel, right? So that's more a return path stuff. So for every one of the 5 steps that we've got, there are questions that we can ask around those 5 steps that open up conversations of what would happen in the prospect's own dialogue. He's telling us what he thinks would happen if we did some of that stuff in his business, right? So at the end of our conversation, we've gone through that whole process. We now have written in our notes all the stuff he said he could do to help make his business grow, to help get from where he is now to where he wants to be. And in that phase, we now put all those pieces together and issue the prescription. right? And here's how it sounds. I'll just kind of walk you through it right now as if I'm on the phone with someone. I'll say, okay, based upon me, or based on what you've told me, it sounds like we should generate immediate cash by offering the tire repair kit to your existing buyers. And it also sounds like we could generate immediate cash by running a 4-day cash machine promotion to your unconverted leads. And then going forward, based on what you told me, you could deploy those one-click upsells in your sales process immediately, get that 10% take rate on that tire repair kit. And we could also add a 4-day cash machine to your follow-up sequence for people who don't buy initially. Right? So all the stuff they're telling me they could do, I'm just summarizing it for them. That's all we're doing. And then here's our hard close, right? So this is it. The question is, does that sound like a pretty good plan to you? Guy usually says yes because he helped come up with the plan and because it is a good plan. Like, we're not stupid here. We know what we're doing and we're genuinely out for his best interest. So we really do help him come up with a good plan. So as soon as he says yes, we move on to the next phase. If he says no, we say, okay, cool. Well, how can we make it better? And we go right back into how to have that happen. Now, I've got to tell you, we've never had anyone say no, right? Because they're helping create the plan, right? I mean, so we're never dictating. We're just helping draw it out of them based on where we know they should be going. So the guy says yes, and here's how we do the close. Here it is. This is the hardcore boiler room close. Are you ready? We say, would you like us to help you implement that going forward? That's it. That's the close. And they say, yeah, what does that look like? We say, well, here's what we do. We help you get your tripwire, and here are the ways we help you do that. And we have these checklists, and then we get this build sheet, and we give the build sheet to the tech team. So basically all you do is you create the assets, and we put it all together for you. So you have this thing instead of trying to build it yourself. Would you like us to do that for you? And they either say yes or no. A lot of them say yes. Some of them say no. Our answer to either situation is, okay, great. And so this very same process that I just outlined for you, no kidding, this is what we're personally using to generate $2,000 or $200,000 a week in revenue. And we just started the dang company on October 22nd, right? So if you would like us to coach you on how to master our sales and marketing process in your business, like what Ryan walked you through, that whole 5-step thing, and if you would like us to certify you as a funnel optimization expert and teach you how to get clients, we'd be delighted to help you. So if that's the case, here's what we can give for you, right? So we will personally lead you through a 6-week interactive class where we take a deep dive into the inner workings of the proprietary funnel process that Ryan showed you. We will certify you as an optimization expert. Now, in full disclosure, you will be required to take a test to prove that you've gone through the training and know this stuff before you get certified, of course. And then once you're certified, we'll also show you how to get clients as an optimization consultant if that's what you would like to do with this knowledge. So the ways you benefit from this are, number one, clearly and obviously applying this whole proprietary methodology to your business. It's worked great for us across 23 different industries, so we're pretty confident you're going to be happy with that as well. Secondly, you will make sure that you learn all of this stuff by taking the certification test. And finally, if you choose to advise other businesses on how to utilize these strategies in their business and even do some of the work for them, you will be taught our methodology for getting clients, and you're free to model those methods if you'd like to. So specifically, here's how we're going to do it. Like I said, it's a 6-week course. In week number 1, we show you how to create the perfect lead magnet.
Yeah, and I think we only got so much time to touch on this today. There's a lot to that. I mean, you heard me give some strategies for crafting your lead magnet copy. Frank mentioned some others, and there's even more that goes into it than that. There's different types of lead magnets that we didn't get into. There's sandwich pages. We talked about reports and books and things like that. When you want to use different types of lead magnets, we barely touched on landing pages, which is a huge aspect of it. So this 1 week is going to be, very, very much in depth. And I can assure you, if you have an active business right now, after that first week, you're going to ROI being in this particular group.
And week number 2, what we do is, hey, you guys know what comes next, right? Right after lead magnet, the logical thing to do is to deploy and optimize, obviously, your tripwire offers. And there's a lot to that, as a matter of fact, a lot more than what we just showed you. because, hey, this is where it all begins, right? If they don't take that tripwire, then they have a 10%, actually they have 90% less likelihood to buy from you than if they did. So it's a really, really big deal.
Yeah, and we're also going to talk about sourcing physical product tripwires. And this is big, especially if you want to be able to do this for a business, for outside business and consultants. And we'll also connect you with resources that we have that can do the pick, pack, and ship. Because I know there's some people saying, oh my God, like you did, 42,000 or 41,000 credit card knives. How did you guys handle all that? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I got my wife and all my children like stuffing them in envelopes. So like, no, I mean you gotta, you need to have the logistics set up to be able to handle that volume. And believe me, if you're going to do it for your own business, you want to make sure you got that set up. If you're going to do it as a consultant, you don't want to set your clients up to fail. And so we're also going to connect you with all of our resources there on that front. But don't think that the tripwire has to be a physical product. They just work well. So we're going to spend more time talking about that when we get into week 2.
Week number trace, we talk about the core offer strategies. And even though we breezed through it in this one because we know you've heard a lot about it before, and we wanted to show you sort of the ancillary things that magnify the sale of your core offer, there's still a lot of core offer stuff that nobody's doing and it's overlooked, and there's just a tremendous amount of work to be done in maximizing and perfecting the offer methodology within core offer strategies. So essentially ways to sell more of your existing stuff faster.
Yeah, and we're going to get our partner Perry Belcher, who, in my opinion, is in the opinion of a lot of people, and it's hard for me to say this about him because he's one of my best friends too. But he really is one of the best living copywriters that I've had the privilege of associating with, and I've met and been around some of the best. He's amazing. He's going to be kind of your the professor for this particular week, covering in great depth offer structure, the 21-step process and formula where you would go about tweaking it. We're also going to give you that 25-point checklist for how you go about optimizing an offer. There is a whole branch of consulting called CRO, conversion rate optimization. Right, CRO, if you want to Google it, there's companies that all they do is CRO. You could take that 25-point checklist and be a quote-unquote CRO if you want to. In my opinion, you're going to be delivering just 20% of the goods that you can deliver to a business because you're only going to focus on the core offer. But nevertheless, I mean, it's going to be hugely valuable to get that.
It's funny. I actually have a conversion rate optimization company as a client for how to get more clients.
In that, I mean, it is amazing, and that's because CROs are very good at getting your conversion rate from 2% to 4%. But
and that's a big deal. I mean, to their
it's
credit,
a huge deal. Yeah, it's a huge deal. Yeah, they deliver tremendous value, but we're really setting you guys up to deliver enormous value.
What we want to do is we want to inject that value with highly illegal performance-enhancing drugs called week number 4 profit maximizers, because that's what those weeks don't have. They're like, oh, here's how to go from 2% to 4%. We're like, here's how to take your revenue per customer from $25 to $250, and that is week number 4, the profit maximizer.
Yeah, and this changes everything. It really does. And we talked about the 7 different types of profit maximizers, but I think there was like maybe a slide for each one. So being able to show some examples and case studies across just dozens of different businesses, it's really going to open your mind to the possibilities. And again, also being able to look at when you're talking about different Slack adjusters and doing licensing deals and direct import deals on high-ticket items with drop shipping so that you can do line extensions. That's going to be big in week 4. I'm not saying that we're going to be able to turn you into like an authority on direct importing from China or anything like that. That's not the point, but we are going to expose you to some of the sides of that business and some contacts that can help you out. So if it makes sense for your business, or if you're doing this as a consultant, you can at least talk the talk and you understand how to go to get these things done and act like a professional.
Exactly right. And by the way, I mean, when I said highly illegal performance-enhancing drugs called a profit maximizer, there's nothing illegal about profit maximizers at all. That was me kidding, right? So essentially, this is like the steroids of conversion rate optimization. This is what makes conversion rate optimization look like child's play, because it can have such a profound effect on total revenue. And very few people do it. Like to us, you're like, yeah, dude, upsells. Man, I don't think people realize how specialized the knowledge of our community is. Like the rest of the world, they have no idea about this stuff. They're like, wait, you mean we can take to putting an upsell after our payment? You're like, yeah, dude, you totally can. So it's a very big deal. And furthermore, very few people, even within our community, know how to actually do it right. They're just kind of sticking upsells in there haphazardly, and there's some formulaic stuff that needs to be adhered to for maximum results. So in week number 50, we're going to talk about what happens if they don't buy, because, hey, let's face it, not everybody who comes through the funnel is going to take your desired action at each step in the game. And that's what the return path is for. And that is where my methodology is really going to come into play. So most of you guys probably know me. I'm famous for mass control, first of all, and even more famous these days for something called relationship marketing, which is essentially how to sell without being pushy and without selling, and how to sell while simultaneously delivering value as a result of the entire sales process itself. So you can actually have people thanking you for sending them sales pitches, because even the sales pitches in and of themselves added value to their overall experience with you. That's the type of return path that we want to give to you, give you the knowledge of how to create for your business and the business of your clients. And this is where you can really, really separate from the rest of your marketplace, because in my opinion, nobody does it. I think you know this to be true, really. I mean, go just look at your internet marketing list from insert guru name here and take a look at the last 10 emails you got. They're probably blatant pitches, right? Well, that sucks. And that's what everybody does in this industry and not in this industry. They either send blatant pitches or they send emails that are so horribly boring that nobody's going to read them. So what we're going to do in week number 5 is learn how to create return paths that are entertaining, engaging, beneficial, and very, very valuable, not only to your customer and client, but also to your bottom line. It's going to get those people to come back and buy from you, and buy from you with greater frequency. And finally, in week number 6, we'll go over how to get clients. So the stuff that I just showed you now, I'm going to walk you through more specifics of. So we're going to work on how to create your irresistible intrigue offer. We're going to work on a return path specifically for a consulting operation. So what do you do if they don't immediately take you up on your irresistible intrigue offer? Well, you know what? That's a good question, because most of them won't, right? That's only logical. Most people never take us up on an offer immediately. So what we do is we build a return path around that. It's different from other return paths you might have seen. And then there are 5 other things that we can plug in the client getting, where it applies to all 5 of the components of this overall system that I want to cover with you in week number 6. So we decided to price this thing way within the reach of everybody. So if you worked with me before, you know that my stuff is usually exorbitantly expensive, and the reason why is because I like to get money a lot. And Ryan has like sort of beat me up on it and said, hey, listen, you know, we're going to do this. It's going to be Black Friday. We should make it accessible to everybody. We're all making more than enough money. We don't need to be greedy, Frank. What the hell is wrong with you? So I felt really guilty, and we decided to make it affordable for everyone. So if you want to take advantage of this training, first time ever offered by either of us, first training ever in history offered by us together, then you can have it today for 3 payments of $486. Or if you want to save $300, you can make a single payment of $1158, but we'll take it one step further. We will also, for the first 10 people to enroll, and I just realized, Ryan, there's like a zillion people on this, so why don't we say, you want to say like the first 50 people?
Yeah, I think 50 is more realistic given the number of people that we have on here.
Okay, cool. So the first 50 people to enroll, you can save even more money. You can have it for 3 payments of $386 or 1 payment of $958. So that's super affordable. I think if you apply this stuff to your business, you know, my hope for you is that you get this back very, very quickly by increasing your sales and lead flow, etc. Obviously, I'm not making any sort of income claim because we've never met you. Chances are we don't know what your business is like and what you're selling, so only you can truly answer that question. But as you can see, tremendous value for very, very little payment, and we'll make it even more attractive. So if you would like a bonus, we will give you one, because what good is an offer without a good bonus, right? What kind of people would we be? Years ago, 2010 to be exact, Brendan Burchard corralled me and said, you know what, Frank, you crazy bastard, we should do a seminar, a workshop really, and only teach marketing campaigns of ours that have made a minimum of $1 million. And he called it Millionaire Marketing Formulas. It was $10,000 to attend this seminar. We sold it out via webinar and direct mail. It was one mail blast and one webinar, and it was sold out, and it was held at the Hard Rock Hotel here in the summer of 2010. We recorded every minute of it and kept the manuals and workbooks and process maps and everything, and I'd like to give this to you as a bonus when you take advantage of this training, which is an incredibly valuable training. The reason we've decided to give you this specific bonus is because it's directly applicable. I mean, you're getting actual campaigns that brought in a tremendous amount of money, and they're broken down step by step, and our hope is you can take that and you can say, okay, well, gosh, now that I see the blueprint they use, I can just apply this to my business and my return paths and the business, these same concepts to the businesses of my clients to get them even better results. And the third bonus we're going to include is something that comes from my vault. As you know, I've offered service and consulting now for a number of years, and I have done so successfully by marketing to real businesses, and I've gotten them through the mail, and I've gotten them through the mail by using very unusual, little-known tactics, and I'll give you a hint, it ain't a sales letter. So I'm going to also include my swipe file for you to model, and I'll give you a walkthrough of it as well to teach you the psychology, and I'll also give you the contacts of where to get all of this stuff done so you're not actually touching any direct mail yourself. And I'll even show you where you might want to get your lists from, what list brokers I've used, and the process I use to select target markets to mail to, etc. So I think that's a pretty gosh dang good package, Ryan. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, and I think it's good. I mean, some people were asking when is the training going to start, and I believe that we're going to start that on the, what did we say, the 16th?
Yep.
Yeah,
16th
on December 16th. So what this is going to do with the holidays and things like that, this is going to give you guys some things with the Millionaire Marketing Formulas. That'll give you some things to get started on. We're also going to send out some prerequisite information to kind of prep for that. But we're going to start that on the 16th. This will be the lowest that you'll see this. You know, and I'm glad that we extended it to 50 because my guess is right now we've already got more than 10. And I will tell you, part of the reason that I wanted this to become affordable is I really do want this, the certification that we're doing. You're actually getting certified by Digital Marketer. And this is one of the things you're going to be noticing. We're doing a new rollout rebranding campaign with Digital Marketer, and we're going to be doing we're going to be doing more certifications and doing a full, like, larger scale advertising push around them, because like I said, I'm a big believer that we have something better to offer the business world as funnel optimization specialists than your normal CRO, than your normal conversion rate optimization team does. I think we can bring a new unique proposition to the world, and I want it to go out there, but I want it to happen in force. So that's why we're doing this. Once we kind of have this set up, and once we are actively promoting the brand and this certification internationally, the certification is going to go up considerably, and it'll be limited. It'll be limited dramatically. We actually have done one certification class that was done live a couple of months ago, just sort of as a beta group. So you guys would be in the first sort of official group to go through this certification. Now, some people asked, do I have to pass to go out there and do I have to pass the test to go out there and do this as a consultant? No, you don't. You would just have to do that if you wanted to carry the certification. I know that there's a lot of people who, you know, you want to have something that you can show folks if they say, well, you know, who are you to, you know, to do this stuff for me? To be able to show a level of certification is going to mean a lot to certain clients. So that's another reason why we're doing this. So I think you get, if you're a business owner or if you're a marketing manager, you're going to have a lot here that can grow and expand your business. Just that list of that 25-point checklist alone, I think, is worth the price of admission, along with the training that we're going to be doing on lead magnets and landing pages. You know, not to mention Frank's swipe file. I mean, if you go down kind of any individual week, any individual bonus is worth more than the price of admission. So I think it's safe to say that if you have a business today this is the type of thing that's going to be very good for you, even if you have somebody in your team do it. And if you're looking now, coming into the end of the year, as we roll over to 2014, what are you going to do in 2014 that's going to make it different than and better than 2013? Having this as a business model that you can deploy as a consultant is really a fantastic opportunity, and it's one that's not going to be made available to the group at large. So we want to show you guys appreciation for sticking it out with us. We want to honor the fact that you are here on Black Friday. Like I said, instead of being crashed out on your couch or swinging elbows at your local Walmart, and so that's why you guys are getting this deal. So I highly recommend go to funnelexperts.com/join, get all the information, get signed up, and I'll look forward to seeing you, talking to you on the training. So
I just got a message. People are asking how the training works. So I suppose we should tell them that. So it's all delivered online. And on the 16th, we'll release the first module. So we release one module every week. And we do that for a reason. We have found through distance education studies, and as you probably know, I've been doing this for 15 years, and Ryan's been doing it for, 10 or, no, you started even before I met you. You were working
with I'm 15 years into it too, yeah.
Yeah, and what we found is the biggest challenge to people's progress is overwhelm. So the cure for that, and if you're doing any sort of distance education, you might be able to borrow this strategy, is instead of giving them the big box of stuff with everything in it, you chunk it down sequentially and you present the information in the order in which it must be deployed for the consumer to have the highest likelihood of success. So that's exactly how we do it. So week number 1, we give you module 1 where we talk about generating the lead magnet. We have a whole week where we work on getting all of that stuff made, so you can't jump around and get overwhelmed with all the other stuff you got to do. You just focus on that one simple task, and that makes it where it's a lot more doable and a lot less overwhelming and not weird or freaky or anything like that. So we dedicate a week to every single module, and if you need help, we are here to help you. As a matter of fact, we decided that for this first offering of this course and this training, that every week we will do live Q&A calls about that specific module. So if you miss, so let me back up. First of all the stuff that we present every week, it's recorded for you. It's in a members area. You can access it 24 hours a day. Even after the class is over, you'll have lifetime access to the material. Second thing is on the live Q&A calls, if you can't make one, it's recorded. And if you have a question that you want us to answer, email it in and we'll answer it on the call, and you can listen to it on the recording. So no matter what your situation is, we've got you covered. This is a fantastic training. This methodology has worked incredibly well for, you name it, the businesses in the digital empire, or rather digital marketer empire, the portfolio, legal services, survival, just that survival business alone. What did you guys start at when you first got the company, right? It was 30 grand a month that you were doing?
Yeah, it was doing about 30 grand a month, and that's when you're carrying our certification. When you're telling the story about this, you also get to leverage some of our examples. You can't say that you did it, but you can say, I'm certified by digital marketer, and here's their track record. So that's one of the benefits that it comes if you want to do it as a consultant.
And you started at 30 grand a month. You applied, and this was trial and error. So I don't want to make it sound like it happened magically, because it took a couple of years to grow that business. And a lot of what you guys have had the benefit of learning today was the product of just unbelievably difficult trial and error that we've gone through. So you don't have to. But what is, can you say it? What you're doing every month now in Survival Life alone?
Yeah, for the past couple months, we've been at about 800,000, and I would assume we should finish the year just at about $1 million a month and tracking up. And we're growing at 10 to 15% a month now. So what happened, we first took over the business and we were flat because we went in there and we tried a bunch of stuff that just didn't work, and then we finally hit on this crazy thing called a tripwire. We went in for the first month and we were redoing sales copy and doing all this stuff that that marketers want to do, and it wasn't having any impact at all. And it was when we launched that tripwire, which was actually it was in October of 2012, was when we finally went out there and launched the tripwire. That was when we saw it jump up to about $250,000. Or it grew from, we were able to kind of get some incremental improvements, and then within about 3 months of doing that, we were up to about $250,000 a month. Then we jumped up, after another couple months, we doubled again, and then we flatlined it at $500,000 for the better part, and it was when we really got locked into physical product tripwires and maximized and really optimized the profit maximizers and the return path, that things were rocking. We have not changed much of anything with the core offer for as long as we have owned that property, and it's been doing stuff where nobody else really plays at the tripwire level and at the profit maximizer level. That's taken it from $30,000 a month to $800,000 a month.
I got to tell you something. Now, I know everyone's on the same team, but guys, I would like just a show of hands of whose team that you're on out there. Perry runs primarily the marketing behind the survival business, and they are beating our consulting company for now. Now, they were a lot older, a lot more momentum. We just started. So I'm kind of hoping that they don't hit $1 million a month until we have broken $1 million a month, so then we can sort of lord it over them and say, you know what, you guys kind of suck.
It seems like the mature way to handle it.
It seems like it would be. We're a very professional organization. Our website looks very nice. We've got graphics and everything. So yeah, I think that is, and it looks like that we actually have a couple to try. We have some Team Perry people. You guys are bad people. I don't know how you got on this webinar, but you were not friends of yours, and we're taking you off the Christmas card list. But the majority of everyone is with us. They think that Perry Belcher must be stopped, and that we should take the reins as the victors in this competition.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Yeah, good. So, I'm glad we're on the same page.
Yes.
Yeah, well, guys, good. You know what we didn't offer? A guarantee. What kind of people are we?
It's like we're forgetting the cobbler's kids are going barefoot.
One turkey is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. I'm all hopped up on that. What kind of guarantee you want to offer there, man?
I tell you what I like. Now, this is a hardcore one, and this is a lot of wiggle room. How about this? You ask for a refund and you get one. Yes.
It's a crazy concept, but I'm actually for that as well. Because I'm not that.
The entire class, try everything, and after the whole thing is over, if you didn't like it, let us know, and you can have your money back and keep all the bonuses anyway. How about that?
Yeah, and if you're sneaky enough to download all the stuff before we, clear your, turn off your login, hey, you can keep that too. We don't really care that much.
Not too worried about it.
Yeah. No, I think that's good. I think that's a good point. I mean, I'm not worried about it. I know for the people that it's right for, they already know it. They're in it. They're going to get value. And for the folks that it's not, you probably already know. I mean, if you're the type of person that just was here because you're avoiding your family, and you wanted to play business and you wanted to play work today, and seem important, but you don't actually want to do anything, you probably know who you are, and this is probably not for you. That was kind of harsh. But
yeah, and if you're one of those people, you should just send the money, but don't actually take the class, just as a gift.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Send the money as a gift. We have between us now almost 8 children. So I bring this up. Someone asked, "What's the in my emails earlier to my list?" I guess I got some of my folks on here too. Hey y'all, people are saying, "What's the congratulations on the new baby? What is it?" It's a girl. So you really should send the money as a gift, because I will now have 3 daughters and 1 son. That means I have to pay for 3 weddings and God knows how much bail money for the son.
Yes.
So even if you don't want to actually have a business, you should still buy the class as a gift to someone else twice.
It seems only fair that they
only
would
logical. Do it. Yeah, yes. Ryan's got 7 million children, so between us, we really have to work a lot.
I finally figured out what's causing that, by the way.
It's the cable. You got to turn the cable back on.
It's the rap music. Well, man, we told everybody we'd be about 3 hours, and we certainly promised that. I looked at the clock earlier, and we kind of ticked over that. I know there's a number of questions here. I'm gonna try to see if folks from our team that have been kind enough to work over the holiday can try to close out some of those questions for you guys. But
are those
I apologize.
Craigslist. Those are the ones that came off the Craigslist ad.
Yeah. No, but I They're doing a fine job. No, but you know, I apologize that it's impossible with everybody who's on this to get to all of them. So if we didn't touch a question, I'm, you know, sorry about that. But with that said, I'm gonna get back to my family. Frank, why don't you do the same, and I thank everybody again for being on this, for being a part of this. I do sincerely hope that that you take advantage of the training that we're offering. And I look forward to seeing you there. I'll let you have the last word and sign off, homie.
Hey, thanks y'all for joining us. It means a lot, really. Thank you for helping us support that charity. It's a good thing. We're helping a lot of kids with autism, and you know, they count. And it's a pleasure to help them. A couple of my friends have children with autism, and they're good kids, and we're real glad to help those people out. And we'll help the charity that helps them out. And we appreciate y'all being here. You've been with us for 3 hours, so you must be pretty serious about your business, or masochists. One of the two. Either case is okay with us. No judgment. Whatever you're into. So we hope you have a real good rest of your day. We hope that, you know, if you want to, you can just leave this page open, and therefore to look like you're still working, and you won't have to go to the mall or anything. That's totally fine. I think that counts as an okay. You're technically still working if you're staring at the page. That's good. You know, anything's better than going to that melee of horror, which is the Black Friday sales at the malls. Dear God. Ryan was like, "You want to work on Black Friday?" I was like, "Hell yes, I want to work on Black Friday. Please." You know? My wife is Ukrainian, and she will go to Mars to get a bargain. So I would be there right now if it weren't for you. So y'all, I've gotten more value out of this than anybody by being able to stay and work. So I sincerely appreciate it. We sure do hope y'all have a good weekend. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you got any good results out of this, it is just the best payback we could ever have for doing it. And we really mean that sincerely. So we look forward to seeing you on the next one. And thanks again.